Did you stay up for it or?
Yeah.
Yeah, winner chicken dinner.
However you get them, right?
Damn right. So you went 3-2. Liga's 4-1. Sixth home team to win a game. And don't know if the day could have gone better for the Dolphins.
No, don't really know if it could have either.
I mean, unless it ended in a tie. I was thinking about it. I go, well, the only thing that make today go better for the Dolphins is if this game ends in a tie. But
I actually think the Jets winning it's actually better than a tie.
because you want the Bills to lose, because now the Jets without Rodgers aren't formidable. I love the fact now you can bet on what veteran quarterback they're going to sign. Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco, which is where my money is, but they're familiar with them. But Colt McCoy,
The Jets radio announcer wants him to make a trade for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. KW, Paul. Yeah, it will. And they're going to get drilled by Dallas. So then, thank you, Mongo. I looked at Troy at one point and I go, so Wilson's the better quarterback in the second half than Josh Allen. Can we say that out loud? He just smiled. He goes, how about if you keep that to yourself? Okay. I go, yeah, it's a sports radio thing.
I was going to send you a text before the game. I got busy. I was going to say, tell Troy thanks again. If he's half as good on our show as he is tonight, if he's half as good tonight as he was on our show, he'll have a hell of a broadcast.
They had a great open. I thought they were very good last night. They're pacing, right level of Joe's calls of the 2 touchdowns were outstanding. The 2 Jets touchdowns. That
Yes,
Wilson.
I missed the first half. I watched Eli and Peyton because I had to accept a delivery at my next door neighbor's house that was supposed to be between 2:30 and 6:30. And they got there at 8:30.
Here you go. Is this the good folks at Amazon being on time?
No, Lowe's. It was a
okay.
refrigerator.
If the game wasn't decided the way it was, I probably would have had that Wilson catch as the play of the day.
Stumpy, you can still not like him, but I mean, come on. Come on. He can play a little bit. Come on. No, Frederick, I understand. No, the game, listen, the first half was not exciting. That is interesting, Paul. Does Rodgers, is that his last play? He won't want it to be, but KW, I don't think anybody roots for injuries. I mean, I'd like to think that's where we draw the line. Hey, JC, Spitz. Morning. I was doing really well yesterday. I even sat on a bench and stared across at the Freedom Tower. I was okay. I was doing really well. till late in our open, and we did that panoramic shot of the Statue of Liberty and the two beams of light where the towers used to be. Golly. I just started crying. John Perry looks over at me. I'm just like, I need a minute.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Boy, sports can be pretty damn dramatic, can it? How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I come from Jersey City, New Jersey, directly across from Lower Manhattan. After a dramatic, not always action-filled, but very dramatic Jets win on Monday Night Football, marking the cozy confines of the Southwest Florida studios. Top of the morning to you, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, David. I am doing just fine. Week 1 is in the books. It did not end, well, the way we expected it to. And obviously now things have changed in the AFC East and in the AFC for that matter.
I have a few friends who are Jets fans. My best friend in the world is a Jets fan. And when Aaron Rodgers is hurt on his 4th snap and he can't get up and he needs help leaving the field, and at one point they bring the cart out, and that's how they're going to take him into the locker room, and he ultimately decides, yeah, that's not how I'm going into the locker room. He texts me the series of Jets major injuries that have happened to prominent players when they were on the precipice, or so they thought, of terrific things happening, from Vinny Testaverde to Chad Pennington and a few more. And he said, please tell me we are not cursed. And I have to admit, it's a tough sell right now to a Jets fan, to sell them on there's not some sort of curse, jinx, voodoo, something going on, somebody with a doll and a series of pins, that something is not going on with that franchise right now. But wow, sports, you never know what's going to happen.
No, I think the curse is real. I do put a little bit of it on the owner for wearing the jewelry that he decided to wear to the game. I don't think that helps. When you wear the medallion that says Woody across your neck.
Just in case people didn't know who you are.
Right.
Okay. He could have worn it. It could have said owner. So he went with Woody. I mean, Mark, I have to admit, it's a nice problem for you and I to have one day. We're a billionaire. We own $1 billion franchise. What's the jewelry that we would wear to the game? You know, we might get it wrong too.
I'd like to think that I'd go a little more understated than he did, but that's just me.
Once again, the excitement was running high. He got caught up in the hype too. Mark, I don't know if you're aware, but the now injured quarterback of the Jets, and the Jets received an awful lot of attention the last 4 months. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Just a touch.
Right.
Just a touch.
So, and, you know, I was getting a series of texts from Jets fans about, you know, the national media jinxed us, brought this on us, you know, all the hype, all the attention, people blaming like ESPN specifically. You know, they got to look for someone to blame, Mark. Got to look for someone to blame. It just can't happen. David Bakhtiari blamed the artificial turf and is good friends with Aaron Rodgers, very upset that his friend got hurt, blames the turf. Went on a rant about, you won't tear the turf up for us. We asked you to get rid of the turf. You're going to tear it all up for the World Cup next year. Okay, but you're not going to tear it up for us. Thanks. This is what you sow. Okay. Got to blame someone or something. It just can't happen. But it did. And for those, we never got official confirmation during the broadcast from the Jets, but Robert Saleh, after the dramatic overtime win, did say they believe it's an Achilles tendon injury and that he'll be out for the year.
And just like that,
poof,
it's over.
I mean, the Super Bowl hopes are definitely over. Can that defense, can that team manage 9 more wins? I mean, hell, they won 7 games last year with that quarterback. Yes, they won. They were 7-4 at one point with that quarterback. That's the second time, by the way, they've beaten Buffalo in that stadium in the last 11 months with that quarterback. I mean, so they do have a little bit of talent on that team, but you figure eventually not having a competent quarterback is going to be their downfall.
Particularly in the AFC, where there are so many quarterbacks whose level of play is going to far exceed that of one Zach Wilson.
By the way, how many Brady to the Jets stories are we going to get in the next 48 hours?
647. Roughly.
I mean, he might as well just send out a statement. Just get this out of the way early. Somebody should text him this morning and say, listen, just send out a text. Send it out on, send out a tweet, or as we call it, a Twix. Send out a Twix on X and just say, no, I'm not unretiring. Feel badly for number 8.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Talk about letting the air out of the tires, if you will.
Woo-wee. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. He gets sacked. Okay, he gets up. He does. He got up slowly. But, he's an old guy. He got hit. All right, so he gets up slowly. And then he tries to walk. And he stops. And he sits himself down on the turf. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We all looked at one another like, no. This isn't really happening, is it? We're thinking, well, maybe he got shook up. And then we see a replay. It's like, no, he didn't get hit in the head. I thought he broke his left ankle. I thought it was an ankle.
And I thought they showed an angle, which he stretched his foot. And I literally looked at my wife and said, that's an Achilles. I thought it right from the beginning.
Joe and Troy never, they're not in the speculation game. They did not say a syllable about what they thought the injury could be. We just went with what the Jets were telling Lisa Salters on the sideline. For what it's worth, John Perry, the official in the booth, who stands to my right, he said, what do you think? I go, broken left ankle. He goes, Achilles. And so there was unofficial word that was making its way to the booth in around the third quarter about an Achilles. John Perry looked at me like, you going to pay up? I'm like, there's no gambling in Bushwood, sir.
I had to take a delivery for my neighbor. She's out of town. She had something delivered to the house. It was supposed to be there by 6:30. It showed up at 8:30. So I texted my wife as I'm waiting on this delivery to get installed and all this stuff. And I just said, pause the game. So I was watching it I didn't catch up until the end of the first half.
Okay.
And my wife happened to stop it on ESPN too. That's just what we had on. To see, I mean, Peyton Manning was distraught overseeing it. And then they had to pivot because they're supposed to have fun with their broadcast.
Exactly.
But it's supposed to be a fun time.
But they got McEnroe coming on, I think, at the start of the second quarter. He's a diehard Jets fan.
Right.
Right.
And as Peyton says, I've got nothing now. This whole broadcast was about Rodgers and the cadence and the new and this and that. I've got absolutely nothing now.
So when you pull into MetLife Stadium and you go through, in the toll area, and then you're going to go into park. Now, our pass, we actually drove around like 2/3 of the circle parking lot, if you will. And so we're not driving fast. Obviously, even though we got there, Mark, before 5 o'clock, it was packed already. People took half days off from work, if not full days off from work. They were tailgating early. 3.5 hours before kickoff, the parking lot was packed with tailgaters, ready to go. And we were just observing in the car the jerseys. And there was about 3 minutes of slow driving where we didn't see a jersey that wasn't an 8. It was like, oh, wait, there's a Gastineau. Oh, there's a Sauce. I mean, man, they had already purchased their jerseys. They had them. Mark, there was one of the biggest men I've ever seen that wasn't Jonathan Ogden. Fat, though. Not Ogden big, just fat. And he had a Rodgers jersey on that covered everything and then some. And I'm like, man, they even made those jerseys in that size? That's like 5, 6 X's. Damn.
It's a big 8.
It's a huge 8.
More of a snowman than an 8.
Yes. My goodness, it looked like a NASCAR road course. It was so big. But yeah, Mark, I mean, they're all in. And I don't know if, you observed the crowd shots. People looked like they'd been, given really bad news about someone close to them. And then they're supposed to keep rooting. I mean, 4 snaps.
4
snaps. 4. Right. Mm-hmm.
And now, for all intents and purposes, it's over in New York for this year.
So let's see. The Giants got beat 40-0, and Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the 4th snap of his Jets tenure. Hell, even the Packers are upset. There goes that first-round pick. He needed 70% of the snaps. He didn't even make 7. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, it worked out well for Adam, for us on the broadcast, because the Jets were running almost 2 minutes behind schedule. So instead of him coming out of the tunnel during a commercial, we just picked it up live. So I go down, the booth is on the 3rd floor. The press box is on the 6th floor. And so Seth got there about an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. And we had already left the press box, dining area, if you will, and gone to the booth to deal with inactives and all that. And then Goodell and Joe Klecko show up. So some of us looked at one another and said, let's get out of here. We're not needed here. And so I went back to go see Seth. And what was I going to say? I'll think of it.
Seth.
No, I know.
Booth, press box.
Yeah, I know. I'm churning here. The gerbil's moving slowly. Oh, so talked with Seth for about 15, 20 minutes. It's getting big. And for me to say that, he needs to get it together. And so then it's like 45 minutes before kickoff. I'm like, listen, I got to go. And head to the elevators and get on the elevator, and turn out to be the young lady who was singing the anthem. And she's in her, police garb and a few other officers with her. Thank them for their service.
That anthem was amazing.
I will say, because the acoustics in that place are not the old place. For whatever reason, the old place was noisier. That's the most atmosphere that I've heard in that place.
When they showed the wide shot that you were talking about, I obviously got chills, and I said out loud, I said, man, I wonder if David's all right.
I was okay till the panoramic shot of the Statue of Liberty in the foreground and the beams of light in the background. That got me.
That had me emotional. Damn, that was amazing.
Fortunately, I'm not needed the first 10 minutes of a game. I mean, as Mark knows, having done play-by-play, you got to let the broadcasters have to get their rhythm. You can't, unless something dramatic, like Aaron Rodgers getting hurt on the 4th snap.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
But Josh Allen said, "Hey, listen, the Jets can still win. I can help."
Ooh. Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs, David, all go down.
Yes, they did, Mark. Yes, they did. We wondered, is the rest of the AFC just going to jump up and say, we've had it with you guys. We really have. 2 years now. And for you in Kansas City, it's 5. We're tired of this crap. And for you in Buffalo, it's been 3 or 4. We're tired of you too.
Stephon Diggs looked unguardable last night.
I'll give Diggs a lot of credit. So Allen fumbles, and the Jets then kick the field goal and take the lead. And Diggs went over, and I think we showed it. Diggs went over to Josh Allen and said, "Dude, we got this." Now, he might have also said, "And you're going to throw me the ball on every damn play, but we got this."
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Top of this Tuesday morning to you. Thanks so much for waking up with Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Samson to join us in 40 minutes. We were able to talk to Troy Aikman yesterday. We did so at the beginning of our bonus hour, 9 o'clock Eastern. And we know for many of you, you don't get our bonus hour. And you were working and what have you, and you couldn't listen. And maybe you didn't download it last night. So now, problem is, about half the interview, we talked about Aaron Rodgers. So, but we're going to, play at least some of our conversation with Troy Aikman and his thoughts of week 1 in the NFL, blah, blah, blah. We'll do that as well. And we'll look ahead. Big one for the Gators coming up against Tennessee. They got to get in this winning act that we got going on in the state of Florida with the football teams. It's time for the Gators to step up, get a big W.
That's asking a lot.
I know it is.
It's not doable, but it is asking a lot, David.
Hey, the Swamp's a house of horrors for Tennessee. They've taken good teams in there before. They've taken better teams than what Florida's had in there in the last 20 years. You know what they've gone home with, Mark? An L. Yeah. Listen, Josh Allen gave away a football game yesterday. You don't think Joe Milton's capable of doing it? Darn right he is. Uh-huh. So we'll talk to Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times. He also is a Heisman voter and an AP Top 25 voter. I think he had Florida State second. We'll talk to Matt coming up a couple hours from now as well.
Just don't know if that Gator defense is really the Jet defense.
I understand. But, sometimes, Mark, a quarterback can just give you a game.
No, you're right. And the Gator defense played well against Utah. I mean, it really and truly did. They were good on third down. They showed a lot of signs of improvement.
Right. Yeah. And you just never know. Hell, your quarterback could even be considered a superstar quarterback. And sometimes, you know what? He just stinks up the joint. I mean, sometimes he's not even the best quarterback on the field. I mean, sometimes with Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Zach Wilson in the building, Zach Wilson can be the most effective quarterback on the field on a given night. That's how nuts sports is. Yes, you heard me correctly. I even have the video proof. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No, there's a lot of video evidence that shows you being correct, David.
I think so. I'm willing to take this case to the jury. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy conviction, but I'm willing to take this case to the jury.
When you show that fumble for the final piece of evidence, David, you're going to be a lot of people on your side.
Now, I understand they're then going to come back with that, final drive in regulation. Made some nice throws there. When Stephon Diggs finally got his attention and said, "Could you throw me the ball? I'm good. I'll get open. Don't you worry about the route and whatever the coverage looks like. Just look for me. I'll catch it. Don't you worry." All I could think of, and many a coach has said it, many a player has said it, that sometimes it's not plays, it's players. And it looked like on the final drive that I have no idea what plays Ken Dorsey was calling, but Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs said, we got this. We can at least get a field goal out of this.
But boy, oh boy.
Whew.
To have a gift right there given to you.
Yeah. And to say, no.
Not interested.
This is this franchise that we're playing here, they've gone through too much. This is unfair. They deserve, and plus it's on September 11th. We're just across the Hudson from Lower Manhattan. I mean, we should give something back to this franchise and this community. And so we're going to do it. And I'm going to sign for it. My name is Josh Allen, and I can give this game away.
And he did.
Yeah, he did.
He really and truly did.
Mm-hmm. He did. Yep.
And maybe the biggest beneficiaries of the whole thing are the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, it's the South Florida sports year. Just keeps getting better. When you can have a great night when you're not playing, Mark, that's when you know it's your year.
The Jets win. They lose their quarterback. The Bills get a divisional loss, and the Dolphins are sitting there going, how about that?
Yeah. Maybe this division isn't going to be as tough as we were told. So we're in first place with Zach Wilson, huh? We'll take that.
Get a game in New England, we're sitting pretty already.
Big game. Big game. 6 division games. They're big. A lot of pressure on you, too, because, the expectation is at 20 years, the table is turned. Now the expectation is you play in New England. What are you supposed to get? A W. 20 years, you were supposed to get an L. Now the expectation is supposed to get a W. It's a lot of pressure. For those of you of a certain age, you don't know what this was like. This was called the early 90s.
And it's time for Miami to take advantage of the break that they got.
Yep.
To take a stranglehold of this division right now. Don't root for injuries, but when they happen, you've got to take advantage of them. And Miami is in a position now to take advantage of the division they're in.
Listen, I don't want to say this Rodgers injury hit people hard. There are Bears fans, showing remorse in the Twitch chat room. I don't know about the text line at 21,000, but I mean, that's how big this apparently has hit people. Even Bears fans are going, come on, man. I mean, even the guy owns us and everything. He still sublets us out. And I don't want to see that. I mean, did he sign the papers over to Jordan Love? Do we think that's just a leasing?
No, it was a quick claim deed. It's taken care of. He's given ownership of the Bears to Jordan Love.
See, this is where it's good to have a real estate agent on the show. So what do you think officially went down there? Realtor?
Yeah, just a quick claim deed. They just moved ownership. It's very simple.
Okay.
Not much to this, and now it's Jordan Love's franchise. So I even think it's on Wikipedia, David.
So you don't think Roger still owns it and he's using him? I mean, what is it you could do? Can I still own the property, but have you manage it or something?
You could, but I think he just transferred ownership right over after the way Sunday went.
Gotcha.
For the Bears and the Packers.
Gotcha. So that's so Chicago Bears under new ownership. Is that what you're saying?
Very much so.
Okay. And even they're expressing remorse at the landlord that they hated, who they just got rid of, and yet they feel badly for him. That's how big this injury is. I'm just saying.
And are the Jets cursed? It's tough to think otherwise.
I think it's a valid poll question. I do. I think it's a valid poll question. Come on now. The Cubs, the Red Sox, well, why can't it be a football team? Right? I mean, is this Joe Namath's fault? Although I didn't see him at the game last night. So, Alabama fans can blame him for the loss to Texas. I don't know if Jets fans can blame him for Rodgers' injury. The starting five is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Look at RCB. When you think you're funny, I know that feeling. When you say something and you start laughing at the end of it, because you think you're that cute. Been there. That's not bad. Oh, yeah, Marinos. Marinos was no contact. Testaverde's was no contact. Similar situation, though. Marinos was what, 93? They had lost in the AFC title game in 92 and thought was, that was going to be a Dolphins year. That wasn't the opener, though, was it? It was in Cleveland, I thought. Thought they were a few games into the year, like 5 or something.
Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, David Samson joins us at the top of the hour. Some of our discussion with Troy Aikman from yesterday in our bonus hour, which we understand that not everybody can hear or had access to yesterday. So we'll replay some of that back to you coming up in our 8 o'clock hour. Matt Baker will join us 2 hours from now to talk plenty of college football. An eventful day and night yesterday in the sports world. Let's get to it, shall we? Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, number 1 is obviously Aaron Rodgers' apparent season-ending injury, a torn Achilles on a sack on his 4th snap as a Jet. Buffalo led 13-3 at the half. Josh Allen wasn't satisfied. He thought the Jets needed a better chance to win than that. So he threw 2 interceptions and had a fumble in the second half. And Zach Wilson said, "Phew, thank goodness, man. It's not like I can move this team on my own. But if you're going to help, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, I might be able to scrounge up enough offense maybe to force overtime." And so we went to overtime, tied at 16. And after the Bills were stopped pretty quickly, Xavier Gipson with a 65-yard punt return to the house in overtime. A walk-off, if you will. Jets 22-16. They win and suffer a big loss all at the same time. Mark, play general manager for a second. We all know the veteran quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan even still willing to come out. He only did 1 game for CBS. It's Andrew Catalon, Matt Ryan, Tiki Barber. Catalon and Barber can handle the duties if he wants to say, "I'm still in shape. Let's go." We all know. I mean, you could call the 46-year-old, but,
you have to.
Yes, you do. Now, do you have to call the Raiders and ask for permission to even talk to him first? He is
an owner.
Right. An owner.
Right. Would he have to give up ownership in order to play in the league? That's an interesting take there, David. I don't know if that would be the case, but you have to make the call for him to say no first.
So Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco, Colt McCoy, Nick Foles. Where are we going here? Cam Newton. I mean, how far down you want to go here?
I wish they would have lost because it looks like they're tearing it down. I'd call Los Angeles and make sure they're really attached to Matthew Stafford.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Hey, if you're going to be all in, right?
Right.
Hey, you're not going to have to give up a first-round pick to Green Bay for Rodgers. He ain't playing 70% of the snaps. In fact, he's not even playing 7. Not percent, snaps. So they're not going to end up giving a first-rounder. I mean, you've got more draft capital than you thought you had. Ooh, I like the way you're thinking there. That's bold. I like it.
Are we in or are we in?
Just keep talking dirty to me. Come on. like I need any help going to the edge of the diving board, staring over the cliffs of Acapulco. You know I want to dive. You know I want to jump in. Chris Jones ended his holdout yesterday. We are told he's got some reachable incentives to make more money, but I don't know if he officially got a raise. He realized, though, that he forfeited $1.1 million by not showing up, because sitting in the stands and watching does not qualify. That's not showing up to get your game check. So Chris Jones ends his holdout, and he says he'll be in Jacksonville ready to play Sunday when the Chiefs look for their first win of the year against the Jags. The Ravens announced, we're not signing one of those veteran running backs. Why would we do that since J.K. Dobbins got hurt? Besides, we signed Melvin Gordon late in training camp. He's on the practice squad. We'll just promote from within. We're good. We got this. Steelers may be without Cam Hayward for a while. Big fella injured his groin in the first half of the loss to the Niners. They're talking maybe an IR stint. That's at least 4 games. Joshua Dobbs is going to remain Arizona's starting quarterback. I don't know if that's an announcement or a threat. Cardinals and Giants.
Don't know if that's an announcement or a threat.
Exactly. Neither team, by the way, scored an offensive touchdown. Giants didn't score, period. Arizona's touchdown was defense. So both teams, week 2, looking for their first offensive scores of the year. College football, Mark, every now and then, either people follow our advice or I think they're listening to the show. I mean, it is available on Twitch after all. You can download it. You can listen after the fact online. And North Carolina held an emergency meeting last night, and they are discussing their legal options to make wide receiver Tez Walker eligible. There's still 10 games left in their season. They are contemplating suing the NCAA and putting that kid in uniform and sending him out there to play and say, you stop us. I dare you. Now we're talking. I don't know what I'm more excited about. All the trade proposals that you now have for the Jets to actually bring in a good quarterback, or North Carolina is going to say to the NCAA, you're an event planner. You have no authority here. And we're done faking listening to you. Got it? Although we do appreciate you taking the whole 25 years of academic fraud and not acting on it a few years ago. We are still appreciative of that. We'll make sure that some of you keep your jobs when we're done dismantling you. Michigan State's, how shall I describe Mel Tucker? Embattled, suspended, soon to be fired?
All accurate.
Okay. He sent out a statement yesterday through his lawyer. He denies everything. He says that the young lady in question, the two of them were in a relationship, and that this is ridiculous. And he's got texts and pictures and everything. He also calls it what Michigan State is doing, including an upcoming hearing, a sham. It's not like there's anything riding on this or anything. There's only about $60 million. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Keep moving on. The coaches poll came out yesterday. Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Ohio State, USC, Texas, your top 6. Tennessee 9th, Alabama 10th. Boy, just between the AP and the coaches, can't drop Bama out of the top 10.
No,
got to keep them there. Nope. Not like Notre Dame at 3-0 should be ahead of 1-1 Alabama.
I will say the coaches at least got Duke ahead of Clemson this week.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's nice to see the assistant SIDs get that right because they're the ones voting after all. Colorado, 21st in the coaches poll. Miami, 22 in the AP, 23 in the coaches. So there. Major League Baseball. Rays won. They suffered a big loss last night. Their starting center fielder, Jose Siri, hit by a pitch, broken right hand. Yeah, there's less than 3 weeks left in the season. That's not good. Because even if you're a quick healer, you need, 3 weeks and then some time to get back in the cage and what have you. So I don't know if Siri's going to be ready when the playoffs start for the Rays. And right now the Rays are playing a best of 3 at the very beginning of the playoffs.
And at least he's a really good defensive center who's hit well for you this year. So,
right.
Other than
the Rays won their 4th in a row. They beat the Twins 7-4. Yandy Diaz with 4 hits, including his 20th homer of the season. Twins' magic number is down to 10, however, because the Guardians lost to the Giants in 10 innings, 5-4. Minnesota's lead still 7.5. Orioles keep winning. I don't know what to tell you. That thing on Sunday, that was just a little something for the effort by the Red Sox. But Orioles, man, it's like 16 of the last 21. So I'm like, they're pretty good, apparently. 11-5 over St. Louis. Their magic number's down to 15. Houston got beat. Oakland shut them out 4-0. So the Astros lead in the West is down to 2 over Texas, who's picked themselves up off the deck and won a few in a row, including beating Toronto yesterday 10-4. Technically, Toronto's the 5 by a half a game over Texas, who has now, for the moment, knocked Seattle out of the playoffs because they lost in extra innings to the Angels 8-5. They're technically the 7th seed, and, only top 6 make the playoffs, so they're out. Speaking of being the 7th seed, that's the Marlins. And they lost a game in the chase to Arizona yesterday. Brandon Woodruff threw a 6-hitter against them, needed 106 pitches. Mark, that's a complete game. Thought we should make note of that. We don't see many of those.
No, we do not. You definitely need to make note of that.
6-hitter, 106 pitches. Milwaukee beat the Marlins 12-0. With Arizona scoring 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th to beat the Mets 4-3. The Diamondbacks' wild card lead is a game and a half over both the Marlins and the Giants, 2 games over the Reds. Cubs keep pace with the Brewers with a 5-4 win over Colorado. They stay 3 back. I believe Brewers and Cubs end the season playing a 3-game series against each other. Braves and Phillies split a doubleheader, 10-8 Atlanta, 7-5 Philadelphia. Matt Olson hit his 50th homer yesterday. He's 1 shy of the all-time Atlanta Braves home run record. And no, it is not held by Hank Aaron. Andrew Jones, 51. Most Hank ever hit in a season was 49. Matt Olson has just hit more homers in a season than Hank Aaron. How about that? Don't give me a hard time. That was worthy of that.
You can go all Mel Allen there, but I don't know if it was worthy of it because it actually is really impressive.
Braves' magic number, by the way, is down to 4. They play the Phillies today and tomorrow. If they win both games, they've actually clinched the East on September 13th.
Now, that might be an appropriate time for a...
How about that?
There you have it.
Padres beat the Dodgers 11-8. LA's magic number is 6. And Washington beat Pittsburgh 6-2. They're still playing, those 2 teams. And I got to be honest, if anything else happened, it was like 1 in the morning and I was tired. I had to go to bed. So if it did, Mark, Felipe, please feel free. I don't know. Did Messi play last night? I don't think he did. If he
Certainly
did,
not at 1 in the morning.
No. So I missed it. I mean, if a NASCAR race got delayed 2 days by rain and they raced yesterday, I missed it. I'm sorry. So if anything else happened, my bad. I believe everybody's been selected for the Ryder and Solheim Cups. U.S. Open is over. I don't think anything else happened. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it at 9 minutes before the hour. That was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Maybe David Samson will update us coming up in about 10 minutes. I don't know.
I think you had it. I
Okay.
think we're good.
All right. Just making sure. I mean, After Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the Jets' fourth snap of the game, did anything else really happen yesterday in the sports world?
Did it matter if it did?
It's not like you're going to hear about anything else today on the Four Letter Network, right?
They had emergency all-night meetings to figure out what their programming is going to be like for the next 8 to 10 weeks. Because it was all Aaron all the time right up until that point.
The Cowboys might not even get talked about today. This is a crisis.
Well, wait a minute. Who did the Cowboys play this week?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. They'll play the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets. My bad. Never mind. Come on now. If that was a parlay bet, would you have even put money on it last night? All the things that, Aaron Rodgers' performance, and you could have bet, and one of them would have been injured out for the year. Would you have even thrown a few shekels? Even if you were gambling with our money, would you have done it? No.
How long before they get grass there?
Well, it's too late. Apparently, next summer for the World Cup.
The World Cup.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, that turf's brand new, too. They made a big deal talking about how, before the season about, new turf. All right. It's really good. It's David Bakhtiari's theory that the turf caused the injury. I don't know. Marino blew out his Achilles standing in the middle of a grass field in Cleveland. Untouched. So whatever. David Samson is next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Paul, it's funny you say that. A mutual friend of Miller and Moulton, Jason, who used to live and work in Southwest Florida. He's in Texas now. Huge Bills fan. He sent a series of texts my way after the game. I want Ken Dorsey fired. I want him working at a Burger King. Okay, Josh Allen hasn't been the same since Brian Daboll left. Giants need to start 0-6. He needs to get fired. We need him back.
I will say there is something to that. Good morning, David.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yes, that gasp is the entire city of New York right now after last night.
I'll tell you, it's content. The turf monster is something that is amazing. He's done.
And he's not young.
No, makes it harder, much harder. If it really rolled up the way it looked like, that sort of tear, that's a year. I couldn't believe that Woody Johnson was sitting in the box. Were you watching the game at all, or were you guys asleep?
Oh, he worked the game, but yeah, I was watching it.
They showed Woody Johnson in the box after the injury, talking to like his grandson or something. He was wearing a white shirt. I was just thinking I would have been down in the clubhouse in 2 seconds. The minute he's on the ground, I'm walking to the locker room. This is everything for him. It was crazy.
Would you have been wearing a David medallion?
No.
Maybe a DPS.
I must say,
medallion.
I wouldn't have been doing anything he's done from ambassador on down.
How about Samson? Would you have gone last name across?
I must say that I would not have.
How about owner? Like if you were him, would you just go? You could go David, you could go Samson, you could go owner. What would the medallion chain be?
The best part is that you don't need to flex it because everyone just knows it.
Well, exactly.
I never understood the concept of famous people wearing their names on themselves. If it's a logo, like a Jets logo with your initials, I'm in. Even if your initials are the Big Cheese or the Boss or owner, but the whole thing made me laugh.
I mean, it looked like Mel Brooks with Prez. Or Gov, rather.
I think there are 3% of the audience who would laugh with that, but I'm sure as hell one of them. At least that's your hope demographically.
David, we're just hoping to have demographics, but
You're so self-deprecating, David.
He's always like this, David.
It's got to be tough for the people who work for you, for them to think that you think it's all for small beans, but it's not. You have a loyal big audience.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
7 o'clock hour on a Tuesday means it's time for David Samson. He of the daily Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast, which is recorded live 1 hour from now. You can follow him on X at David, the letter P Samson, David P Samson. Good morning. How are you?
I got more sleep last night than I had in the last week. So I must tell you, I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Did you go to sleep after the Jets' fourth snap of the game? Why is it you got so much sleep?
Well, I'd been up 24 hours, the previous 24 hours, doing a training day where I'm training to do a 48-hour challenge. So I was very tired. And this is, I'll admit it to you, but not only because I love you guys. Yes, I was not unhappy that I could turn the game off. So I waited for the 4 snaps, saw the injury, and then waited just a minute to see whether ESPN would cover something more than they did. But I knew it was Achilles only because I've seen those injuries happen. And that's how it works. When he stood up and then sat right back down, that's how it works. Often you hear the pop or you see it actually physically roll up your calf in a worst case scenario, because that's what happens. It detaches, and I'm not a doctor, but it detaches. I'm just experienced and seen this terrible thing, and then it rolls up. I feel so terribly for Jets fans and the whole team. It was an absolute nightmare.
It is an absolute nightmare. And now the pivot ESPN will have to do, because they've put all their eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket for what seems to be the last 6 weeks. Now they'll have to pivot. But you're in that part of the world. This is with the Mets and the Yankees not living up to expectations. The Giants just were shut out 40-0. This has not been a good start to the NFL season, the metropolitan New York area.
There's no question. I think that Jets fans, I spoke to 6 close friends, not close friends, 6 people I know well. I don't want to throw around close friends like I'm some sort of not Howard Hughes guy. And their response was interesting, and it was unanimous. It was, that's being a Jets fan. And I didn't understand how quickly they were able to pivot to that level of despondency, because prior to the first snap, they were flexing how amazing their season was going to be, how lucky they were, Super Bowl time, Namath time. They were so excited, and then it's gone. He didn't complete a pass. 4th snap of the game, and they said, yeah, that's what it is to be a Jets fan. I couldn't believe that. Very sad.
Now, come on now. When you guys beat the Cubs 20 years ago, I mean, now you were in your world, so maybe you didn't take it in. But tell me Cubs Nation didn't just look at you and go, well, we're cursed.
They did. And I must say, a career highlight, making so many people cry. That's why I love winning on the road more than winning at home. It is my absolute favorite thing in the world to quiet a stadium. And the Cubs are the best example at Wrigley, because they assumed they were going to win the series, and then they were winning Game 7 and then lost. And we saw, and we talked about in the team bus on the way back to the hotel that day, that they were crying, and that made us very happy. So yes, they all said, yeah, it's the curse, and the curse of the Billy Goat in Boston. And there is some psychology that exists that when everyone feels together in misery, misery loves company, that you build upon that and it builds the story. And there are some owners, including the owners in both Boston and Chicago, when they won the World Series, who said, now what? Is this going to impact any sort of future? And it did not. It went the other way, of course, in Boston when they kept winning. But yes, there is a component of that. But wouldn't you rather win than be happy being miserable?
Do you believe in curses? Do you believe in jinxes?
No, I believe in science, and I believe in what turf means. And the reason why we had grass field at Marlins Park, which they've now turned to turf after I left, but having grass is really hard. It impacts your ability to get revenue in season, because you do an event on grass and it ruins it, and it is extremely costly to upkeep. So I absolutely understand why there's turf in MetLife. And I'm going to talk about this more on Nothing Personal in 54 minutes, but there is, because we don't have time because you have me on for 8 minutes, but there is significant money involved in choosing turf over grass, significant savings. It's much more economical, but it's much more dangerous.
Is it something that you estimate can be fixed? I mean, is there new turfs out there that can replicate grass better? Because I know this from, I remember meeting the athletic director at my university, which was an agricultural school. And I looked at her and said, why are we playing on turf? And she gave me all the reasons behind it. I looked at her and said, still doesn't make sense to me. It's a non-starter.
As a matter of fact, MetLife just put in the newest, greatest turf of all time. And turf is turf. The reason why it's cheaper to upkeep turf is it's not alive. Now, It's funny. I've not heard anyone tell me that. I think grass is living. People call it living. I don't know that it doesn't breathe or anything, but the best turf is not grass. You can't smoke turf.
Well, some have tried, though, David, especially where you live. Some have tried, and you've run into them on street corners after they've smoked the turf, okay, and their doctors would beg to differ. So you believe that was a turf injury. You and David Bakhtiari of the Packers, he immediately took to whatever you call it these days, and he said, oh, that's a turf injury, and you NFL owners who are tearing up your turf, by the way, next summer for the World Cup, because they will not play the World Cup on turf. They will only play it on grass. But you won't do it for us, but you'll do it for them. He believes that was a turf injury.
They will make more money hosting World Cup games than an entire NFL season. And I can't wait to look at the math and dig into the numbers, because it may be more than one NFL season by hosting World Cup. But yes, what happens is your foot gets caught. Grass, there's slippage. So sometimes you see when the grass isn't perfect and players are slip, and then you get divots, and then it's sort of muddy. With turf, your foot actually grabs. And so there's such thing as turf cleats, and our players would have turf shoes when we played on turf versus regular metal cleats when you're on grass. But if your foot catches and you don't go down the right way, then your Achilles can snap or your knee can blow out. That's what he means by turf injury. I hadn't seen that exact tweet, or whatever we call it now, but that is correct how that works.
He's David Samson. Nothing personal with David Samson. He'll record it in 52 minutes. You can follow him on whatever we're calling it these days on David the letter P Samson.
What's the biggest injury you dealt with as a president?
Oh, I think that anytime you have a pitcher that goes down with Tommy John, to me, that is always the biggest one, because you know what you're up against. So when you get the call, when you see a pitcher go out of the game, and the first thing you think about is Tommy John. So I remember, whether it's Josh Johnson, whether it's Jose Fernandez, anytime your best pitcher gets hurt, it's devastating, because pitching sets the tone in baseball. And I think about what the Rays have done, and it just continues my jealousy. I think they've got 75 players currently out on Tommy John, which sets a world record, and yet they continue to be in a position to make the playoffs, and it's just such a credit to what they do. We never had the depth to overcome it. You pretend you do, but you really don't.
My co-host here, he threw out an idea that, listen, if we're going to be all in, let's be all in. And so when I was mentioning, hey, what veteran quarterback should they go out and get? The Matt Ryans, Carson Wentz's of the world. He said, no, call the Rams about Stafford. No. If we're all in, okay. And David, I will say, okay, a year's a long time in the NFL. You can't win a Super Bowl with Zach Wilson. You can't. Okay. And you put a team together to win a Super Bowl. You're all in. Should you be all in? The first round pick you were going to give to the Packers, you don't have to now, because he's not going to play 70% of the snaps. Do you then call the Rams and say, hey, we'll give you that pick?
Can we talk about that, what you just said? I'm going to push back. The year the Broncos won the Super Bowl, do you recall that their defense was number one, the greatest defense maybe you ever see, and their quarterback, while he had a great name, Peyton Manning, he wasn't all that great that year? Is it really true that if the Jets have the kind of defense that they're supposed to have, and they've got some offensive weapons, which they clearly have, is it true you can't win a Super Bowl with Zach Wilson? Guaranteed?
I'll put it back at you. Do you think Zach Wilson from the neck up is 4% of Peyton Manning from the neck up?
No. And that is a great answer, but I didn't want to impugn Zach Wilson's, cerebellum. That said, I don't know, and I'd be very careful how much I would give up, because right now, the worst time to make a trade in sports is the day after you need to make a trade, because you are going to lose that trade. And you're going to have to give up way more assets because everybody knows you're desperate. The best thing to do is for the Jets to come out and say, we are so confident in Zach Wilson. We built this team to win. We're
but it's
gonna
garbage.
Win.
Come on, it's garbage. No, it's garbage.
garbage.
No, it is garbage. It's total garbage.
But we say it.
Well, but let's not fake it. Let's not lie. Okay? I mean, come
Everybody fakes it.
No,
That's the whole point of faking it. Is everyone knows, but you still pretend because you convince yourself. You can't go out. You imagine making a call right now to the Rams. Listen, any interest in trading Stafford? And they'll say yes. We'd like 4 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks.
No, they'd say, yeah, we'll take a first-round pick, and you go, done. Get him on the plane now.
Now, interesting. 1 first-round pick for Stafford.
Yeah,
that's the whole trade.
Yes.
I'd have to consider making that trade if I am the Jets.
By the way, when we make T-shirts, Miller and Moulton, can we go with a cerebellum-friendly show?
100%. Be my guest.
You're not gonna want royalties or anything? No?
Listen, I just started my own merch. I have a website, davidsamsonpodcast.com. If you need any help in getting a store off the ground, getting people to buy merch, let me know, because you guys have a lot of funny things that you do on your show.
Nothing personal with David Samson. Cerebellum friendly. No? We're not going to see that online?
It's not going to be one of my shirts, but that said, it would be hilarious if it were one of your shirts. It would track very well, because 80% of the things we talk about, 90% of the audience looks and says, huh?
He's David Samson. 47 minutes from now, he'll record a very cerebellum-friendly, nothing personal with David Samson. You can follow him on X at David the letter P Samson. Have a good week, sir.
See you soon. Bye.
Cerebellum-friendly, huh?
Yeah, that's apparently this segment. We are cerebellum-friendly. It's good to know. We can market that, can't we?
It's so good.
I mean,
Better than somewhat successful.
I was going to say we're so good at marketing Miller and Moulton as it is, right?
I think it's always good to talk body parts.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Oh, we were still on the air?
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
We do our best. That was a great point, Mark. Zach Wilson is not 4%. I did not want to insult the man's cerebellum. Yes, FGCU Sabre, he was. And he said so after the game. He said, I lost us the game. As a matter of fact, you did. In fact, Phil, it was an issue with Messi. Like when Messi came over, he said, I'm willing to play on turf, which was considered a really big deal.
But since he only plays at 3/4 speed in this league, it's okay.
So you're saying he's playing just hard enough?
Yes.
Hey, we don't know that the Lions have gotten rid of all the bad juju. It's early.
All the bad juju's in East Lansing with Mel Tucker. I mean.
Ah, look at you. Look at you. Channeling your inner Dan Dockich.
It's a great game. It's
By the way, Clay Travis vigorously coming to Mel Tucker's defense on X. Honestly, there's one tweet after another saying this is all BS. Tell you what, though, Marino blew out his Achilles on grass. I'm pretty sure it was a slippery, muddy midfield in Cleveland. Okay, but I thought the whole thing about grass is that grass gives way and turf doesn't. So doesn't a slippery field give away more?
I don't think Dorsey had anything to do with the picks and the fumble.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The play of the day is coming up. Could be a series of plays. You never know. Young Felipe in charge. Some of our interview with Troy Aikman from yesterday, about half of it involved Aaron Rodgers. That part we had to edit out since, well, he likely is not going to be playing the rest of the year for the Jets. His head coach after the game said, we think it's a significant Achilles injury, likely out for the year. You then have to wonder, will he be able to come back from this? He'll be 40. Major injury. Will he be able to come back from this? Did we see Aaron Rodgers' last play? Not everybody gets to ride off in the proverbial sunset. But, Mark Lawrence Taylor had it in his head in 1992 that was going to be his last year. He blew out his Achilles midway through the season. And he basically said, yeah, I'm not going out on a cart. And so he came back and played one more year. And played pretty well and helped the Giants win 11 games and go to the playoffs. But you know, and you wonder, yeah, I'm sure Rodgers doesn't want to go out this way. He was talking about playing multiple years before last night, but one has to wonder now, will he be able to?
The one thing that all players come back for is to be in that room. They do. It's the one thing they all miss is the camaraderie of the team. And rehabilitation is a lonely, lonely business. Even for the toughest mental athletes or mental giants in doing that, it's just not easy. And I don't know if Rodgers wants to go through all the rehab that's necessary.
What was it, about a half a dozen years ago? Anthony Barr, the Vikings, fell on him on a sack and broke his collarbone, his right collarbone. Not that you could play with a broken left collarbone, but since he's right-handed, and he missed the rest of the year. He only played, I think, 5-6 games that season. But this is the second major injury of his career, now turning 40. And will he be able to come back from this? That's the bad news. Need to emphasize the good news. Mark Miller had a winning week. The Jets' rousing comeback. Xavier Gipson's 65-yard punt return in overtime. Mark Miller with a winning week at 3-2. Mark Miller bested his co-host in terms of picking outright winners on the NFL because he had the Jets and I had the Bills. Lee Sterling then completes a 4-1 week because he had the Jets getting 2.5. Thank you very much. By the way, when the Bills kicker doinked the 50-yarder off the upright and it went through to force overtime, I mean, doesn't that, if you're a Jets fan and you're already thinking that your franchise is cursed, I mean, isn't that just the deal sealer right there?
I really thought at that moment the Bills were going to win by 3. And getting 2.5, it would have been just that much short.
I mean, to doink it from 50, and it goes in. So there you have it. Congratulations. All right. A winning week in September. Those are few and far between in recent years. You're back to 500. You're 5-5, 2 weeks in. I know with the VIG, that's losing money, but we'll take it as a win. That counts as a win in Miller and Moulton. 500's a win. Tie goes to Miller and Moulton.
And with that Jet win last night, that means the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bengals, the big 3 in the AFC,
right,
are a combined 0-3.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Jets became the 6th home team to win. Road teams are 10-6 on the young season. By the way, if you just took the points, you're 10-6. If you just took the points, you're 10-6. Betting NFL games right now. So you got that. So road teams are 10-6, and underdogs are 10-6 against the number. So there you have it. That's week 1. It's now officially in the books. 4 snaps.
Time now for our play of the day, Felipe. I don't think we can have an Achilles injury be the play of the day. So what are you taking from that game that's not Aaron Rodgers being injured?
I mean, anything else but Xavier Gipson in his first NFL game of his life, saving any bit of sanity left in I almost said Giants fans, Jets fans. Here's how it sounded.
And getting away, a line drive kick is Sam Martin. Gipson runs under it at the Jet 35. Starts to his left, gets to the 40, turns the corner at the 45, 50. Blockers in front at the 40, at the Bills 30, inside the 20. Stutter steps to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! It's a Jet touchdown! This game is over!
What a way to end Monday Night Football. Gibson's going to take this one back. 63 yards for the touchdown.
Just an incredible call by ESPN's Bob.
Bob Wischusen.
Wischusen. God, I did not want to butcher that name. I didn't even want to try. But an amazing call. Only the 3rd punt return touchdown in overtime in NFL history. And it is a win for the New York Jets in a very dramatic week 1 that now comes to a close.
And Marty Lyons, the color analyst, who chimed in there as well. Jets Radio. 1050 ESPN in New York.
Might be their highlight of the year, David.
It probably will be. They'll win, they'll win a bunch of games, 7, 8, 9. I mean, right now, you think they'll win 10 games?
No.
You think they'll have a winning record?
No.
Okay.
I'm seeing a solid 8 and 9. They have one of the hardest schedules in football.
The AFC East definitely does. NFC East, AFC East, who also play each other, by the way. Definitely. We talked about that. And in the AFC, some of us thought it is going to play a role in ultimately who makes the playoffs. Much easier schedules if you're in the North and South than if you're in the East. Much easier schedules.
Do you think they get to 500?
That is a really good defense. That's not a good quarterback. That's really good. They got 2 good running backs. They got 1 really good wide receiver. They got 2 really bad tackles.
Their tackles are bad. I mean, their offensive line is bad, and it's not going to get better. I mean,
I don't think so. No. It's going to be, if you put the over under right now at 8.5, I'd be flummoxed for the rest of the show. I'm with Felipe. They 9 and 8, 8 and 9. I'm torn. But I mean, how many wins do we think Aaron Rodgers is worth over Zach Wilson? How many wins did you think the Jets were going to finish? Did you think they were going to finish with 9, 10, 11, 12? And then now ask yourself the question, how many wins is Aaron Rodgers worth compared to Zach Wilson?
I had them as an 11-win team with Aaron Rodgers.
I had them as a 10-win team with Aaron Rodgers. So I probably have to go no. Losing record with Zach Wilson. Now they go to the Mark Miller School of General Managing. They go call the Rams for Matthew Stafford. Now we're talking. I'd do it. I'd do it.
Oh,
absolutely, I'd do it.
I would too.
Absolutely, I'd do it. I'm not throwing away a year. I'm not wasting one of the Quinnen Williams' great years he's got. No, I'm not wasting Sauce. I'm not wasting Garrett Wilson. I'm not doing it. No, we're all in. Super Bowl 3, by the way. It's the last time we were in that game. 3. Super Bowl 3. Lyndon Johnson was president, okay? Yeah, I went there.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples.
BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hell no, Adam. I will say, if they get Matthew Stafford, they're serious again. Because he can still ball. I think he proved that in week 1.
When Corey Davis retired, that wide receiver who walked away from the Jets, he saved them like 10, 11 million. They have almost 20 million in cap space.
Stafford for a first-round pick. That's
Now,
a fair trade.
Here's, by the way, Stafford's cap number for this year is 20 million. Afterwards, it's 50 million for 24 and 25. Stafford was asked by the Rams to redo his contract. He said no. Yes, Jake, Rodgers' contract counts against the cap. Jameis Winston. That's interesting.
If I were ESPN, I would force Aaron Rodgers. I would have a crib. I would make him get inside of it with a binky and have him sucking his thumb to start the show.
Greeny or Aaron Rodgers?
Greeny. In the Aaron Rodgers jersey, just in the fetal position with a microphone announcing the start of Get Up. If you're going to go all in and be the cheerleader, you got to go all in and be the cheerleader. Make it fun.
But I believe he is 75 million guaranteed after this year. You'd have to talk to Stafford. You'd have to get permission to sit down and talk with him and say, listen, this is a 1-year thing. And then we'll say, where is it you want to go play in 24 and 25? The Rams were going to look to move off of you. Where is it you want to go?
How's Tampa Bay sound?
Yeah, where do you want to go?
Matthew Stafford is really good. I mean, I would even say that they could be in an even better situation with him.
Slow down.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is
Mark,
still washed.
I got something for you, Mark. I got something for you. By the way, where do we pick up the Aikman interview? Like, how do we intro it?
I mean, it just starts with you guys saying Troy Aikman, been calling games for 20 years. Troy, how are you? And then...
So we don't need to intro it.
Well, no. I mean, you could for a little bit be like, hey, this is how it sounded, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
okay. You're probably going to have to play the first few seconds for us during the break.
Okay.
Not
We're
now.
we're coming back now. Yeah.
'Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, we'll play you some of our interview yesterday with Troy Aikman coming up at the top of the hour. We talked quite a lot about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, and, well, needless to say, we had to edit that out late last night, early this morning. Otherwise, we're going to play a lot more of the interview. But now it seems, well, futile.
Timing.
Right. Timing. Hey, thought you had a great idea during the first hour, if not first segment of the show, in which you said, listen, if I'm the Jets, and I'm being serious, not just playing sports talk show host here, this isn't a hot take, looking for, 3 more clicks. I'm calling the Rams about Matthew Stafford. The Jets have about $20 million in cap room. Stafford's cap hit for this year, Mark, is $20 million.
Okay.
Now,
then it gets a little hefty after that, I would imagine.
At 24 and 25, it's about $50 million.
Okay.
And with Rodgers also, they redid his contract so that this year his cap was much less, and next year it's the gross national product of Guatemala. So yes, there's no doubt that we're all in this year. And that was your suggestion. I liked it because the Jets were going to give the Packers a first-round pick in next year's draft if he played 70% of the snaps. Well, it turns out he's not even going to play 7, not percent, snaps. So they're going to hold on to their first-round pick. So suddenly that's now available. Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to have to give him something, a second or a third, something like that. But they're not going to have to give up their first. All right. I got a quarterback, a trade idea.
All right.
Kirk Cousins. $35 million for this year, so you're going to have to get creative. But he's in the final year of a contract. Ironically, the Jets went hard after Cousins when he was leaving Washington, and he kind of used the Jets to sign with Minnesota. So 5-6 years later, here we go. But Kirk Cousins, you call the Vikings, first-round pick. It's straight up, by the way. Nothing else. Give you a first-rounder, Kirk Cousins.
1 year left on the deal, so you don't have to worry about anything. And
Nope.
You're telling Cousins you're here for 1 year. That's it. Go do your thing. Free agent, whatever you want to do after this year.
Right.
Because unless Rodgers retires from this, we're going back to Aaron Rodgers next year.
Right. But Cousins is fine playing the business game. I mean, you could argue there are very few quarterbacks who have ever played it better. He has no problem betting on himself. And clearly, Minnesota's not signed him long term. I mean, deep down, he and his wife have to think they're moving. They have to think this is their last 6 months in the Twin Cities. How could you not? I mean, why have they not re-signed him? He led them to 13 wins last year. He graded out as one of the top 8 quarterbacks in the league last year. They didn't even make an effort to extend him. You're in your mid-30s. Obviously, you're thinking, well, they're moving on. I guess we have to. What do you think? Now the Jets, obviously, they got to create $15 million in cap room, and that ain't easy to do, and I don't know how they're going to do it, to be honest with you. I don't. But they've got over half of the room available. You can figure out a way to, $15 million. I mean, that's what? 6-7% of the cap? I mean, they could figure it out.
It does make sense beyond this year, too. And that's the most important thing. Well, I threw out Stafford, what his money is on the cap in 24 and 25, make that pretty much a non-starter.
Right.
Unless you've already worked out a trade with somebody for the following year.
Just curious. Now, the Vikings, of course, they'll ask for more. I mean, you're calling them up, offering them a 1. They're like, well, they're really desperate. We're going to want more. And I'm just saying no. As a matter of fact, no. But we'll give you a first rounder right now. And deep down, I may go, I don't know. Have you seen Zach Wilson play? As a matter of fact, I have. I've seen it for the last 2 years. I mean, maybe we'll be willing to give him something in 2025 as well. Maybe a third. But once again, Mark, it goes back to, are we all in or not? You and I are hockey guys, okay? And we're baseball guys. This is what hockey and baseball teams do. Guy gets hurt, they just say, oh, well, got to get another one. And they do whatever they got to do. Now, in those sports, a lot of times it's prospects. You're giving up younger guys and what have you. And the NFL doesn't really operate that way. And the Jets aren't really going to want to take away from their roster.
But they have draft picks.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as prospects.
Yeah. And by the way, let's just say that next year a second rounder is going to Green Bay in the Rodgers deal. So you gave up a first and second rounder in next year's draft for your quarterbacks. I don't think that's unreasonable. Once again, we had a team 2 years ago who traded away a bunch of draft picks, and guess what? They had a parade. I'll say it again. The Jets haven't been to the game in 55 years. How much longer do you have to wait? There won't be.
Because the other option is you basically have cashed in this year.
Yeah, you're not going to. And David Samson said, are you sure you can't win a Super Bowl? Yes, actually. The league's changed. We don't think you can win a Super Bowl the way the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2000 anymore. We don't think you could even win it the way the Bucs won it in 2002. Although Brad Johnson was a solid NFL quarterback. And he brought up Peyton Manning in the 2015 Broncos. And it's true. Who took over for and wounded Peyton Manning midseason? It was Brock Osweiler. They were getting it done with a great defense. They were. Maybe the last team to win a championship in which you could say they won it with defense. The Patriots had that great defensive effort in the Super Bowl when they beat the Rams 13-3, but they did have Brady and Gronk and, Edelman. And, it was very much a 50-50 team thing.
Right. It wasn't a season of just defense.
Right. The Broncos were being carried by their defense. That was 2015. That seems like forever ago that you could win a Super Bowl that way. What do you say? First off, from the Jets standpoint, I'm your assistant GM. You're the GM. Can I get you to call the Vikings and make that offer?
David, I'm on your team right now.
Okay.
This is
okay.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, and you have put yourself in a position where you think you can win a Super Bowl. Despite the people in our Twitch chat room and on the text line, well, the Jets were never going to win a Super Bowl. They believe that they can. They believe they have an elite defense. They believe that they have good enough players in specialty roles that they are a championship caliber team. That's why they got Aaron Rodgers. So you either sacrifice the year or you go try to find a quarterback.
You sure with a competent quarterback that team can't win the Super Bowl? I mean, that defense can play. They can stop the run. They can sack the quarterback, and they've got a shutdown corner. Are you sure that team with a competent quarterback can't win the Super Bowl? Yeah, I know. Their tackles are not good. I got it. Hey, Chiefs went to a Super Bowl, and their tackles weren't any good either. And the Jets defense is a hell of a lot better than any defense Mahomes has had. You sure? You sure? I mean, that defense played with no margin of error for 3 hours last night and won them a game against Josh Allen. How many better quarterbacks did they have to take down than the one they took down last night? Are you sure? Put Kirk. I'll tell you what, Doll fan, how you're feeling now about the division with Rodgers hurt. How do you feel if they put Kirk Cousins on that team tomorrow? Now tell me how you feel about the Jets for the rest of this year.
Now, I suspect that they'll do nothing, that they'll play Zach Wilson, and that's just the way it's going to go. We wouldn't operate that way.
If you're the Vikings, do you make the deal? Final year of a contract, deep down, come on. Your actions have said you're moving on from him. Either that or you're going to have the least amount of leverage in a contract negotiation that a team has had with a quarterback in a while. So for whatever reason, you're moving on from Kirk Cousins. Here, I'll give you a first-round pick for your efforts. And deep down, you and I both know we'll be willing to throw in a little something extra in 2025. I'll convince you, listen, if we're giving away a 1, we might as well give away a 3 in 2025. Who the hell cares? We really going to let the 85th pick of the draft keep us? I mean, it's Zach Wilson or the 85th pick in the 2025 draft. Which can you live without more or with more? I'm sorry. I'm the Jets. I've watched Zach Wilson play for 2 years. Now you're telling me I have to watch him for another year? Are you serious? What I wouldn't give for Kirk Cousins.
And as good as that defense is, they keep looking at Zach Wilson. They can't get that kind of effort 17 times. They just can't. What did he throw for last night? 130 yards?
I don't know. I'd do it. I'd do it. I'd give up even a 1 next year and a 3 in 2025 yes, I'm renting Kirk Cousins. 15 games of Kirk. Yes. Yes, I am. By the way, Kirk Cousins has won in the playoffs. Kirk Cousins went into New Orleans, outplayed Drew Brees, and beat the Saints. Kirk Cousins can play. Kirk Cousins is like top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league. With that defense, a competent quarterback? Ask a Dove fan right now. Jets go out and get Kirk Cousins. How you feeling?
Because I think right now, Dove fan thinks they won the division last night. I really do. As badly as Josh Allen played, as good as they looked, Aaron Rodgers goes down and Dove fan thinks, oh, look what just happened. And David and I have said it for years on this show. You need breaks. You need good things to happen to you. And the bad break for the Jets is a good break for the Dolphins. Don't root for injuries, but that's just facts.
By the way, those that are saying, what does that say to Jefferson in Minnesota if they trade away Cousins? Well, first off, Jefferson just wants to get paid. He's thinking about himself. He's looking for his $30 million a year extension. Okay, and besides, he has to think Cousins is leaving too. How could you be on the Vikings and not think this is the last year of Kirk Cousins? I mean, the team's all but taking out a billboard at team headquarters. Goodbye, Kirk. Just a thought.
What are your thoughts? 21,000 is the text line, 21000. If you want to chime in on the show, we've had many people commenting on different things, blaming the turf. A couple of Niners fans going, boy, what would we have gotten for Trey Lance if we'd have just waited a little bit longer?
Not much. Not much. Couldn't beat out Sam Darnold. Jets couldn't give Sam Darnold away. They weren't going to give you anything for Trey Lance. Remember, they took Zach Wilson over Trey Lance. We do have some people, and not just Adam, who's the big Jags fan in our Twitch chat room, they're absolutely in love with Gardner Minshew. Like, they think if they call the Colts that Gardner Minshew is going to save the Jets.
He's everybody's favorite backup, David.
He really is. Is it the stash?
You're damn right it is.
It's Minshew mania. Minshew mania.
If he was clean shaven, no one would give a damn.
Uh, when we're in the room debating about whether or not we're going to make this deal, I literally would say, "Hey, do you have a friend who's a Dolphin fan? Call him up and just say you're feeling pretty good about yourself right now. Hey, what if the Jets got Kirk Cousins? How would you feel?"
I think they'd still feel fine.
Oh, they're feeling it, is what you're saying.
I think they'd still feel fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because they'd look and still think they have the best quarterback out of the two, and it wouldn't be close in their estimation.
Well, hell, after last night, they've got the best quarterback in the division. Please. Josh Allen was a mess.
Madden curse.
I think it's the Brian Daboll curse.
Miller and Moulton.
Fame.
We were lucky enough to talk with Troy Aikman yesterday. We'll give you the best of that interview on the other side. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, so I'm going to play you guys the first few seconds of the interview so you can see what it's like.
It's not going over the air, right?
No.
Okay. Troy Aikman for 22 years. He and Joe Buck have been calling the NFL. This is year 2 for them on Monday Night Football. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, David. I'm doing great.
Did you or teams you were on, did you ever overreact?
It's 8:51. I added some things.
It's 8:51, not 5:52.
Yeah, 8:51.
I thought we talked about a few things, but okay, good.
Yeah, I wasn't sure
Good.
where you wanted to go, but yeah, I added it.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
It's good. I think this is worthy of playing again, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, anything to fill a segment.
Well, I'm torn because, in today's world, you want people to download it. So I don't know how much we should be replaying.
Okay. I will say if the thing that we're working on comes to fruition, we'll definitely never replay anything again, because then we'll be doing 9 o'clock for not just one market. And once we're doing it for more than just one market,
Mhm.
And quite frankly, we'll book more guests at 9 o'clock, which could actually lead to getting more people who, the 6 to 9 is just a little early, but they would do 9.
Right.
No, FGCU Sabre, that's why we did it. A lot of people, based on our Twitch numbers, we know how much of the audience leaves right at 9 o'clock. You guys go into work or... Yes, Nick. He added soccer and NBA. That's how he...
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. In Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, the Diamond District bonus hour awaits 1 hour from now. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers injury, the biggest thing going on in the sports world in the last 12 hours or so. The Jets believe it is a torn Achilles, and he is out for the year. Just 4 snaps into his Jets tenure. Jets did rally to beat the Bills in overtime, a dramatic game if you stayed with it. But yesterday, in our bonus hour, we had the opportunity to talk with Troy Aikman. And we don't normally replay interviews, but we understand that, 3 of our 4 affiliates, well, they don't get the bonus hour. And even in this day and age with, websites and downloads and what have you, well, quite frankly, we're being nice. Don't know how often we're going to be this nice again, to be honest.
Well, and I mean, David, I happened to watch Monday Night Countdown last night. They replayed the same interview in Monday Night Countdown twice.
They replayed our interview with Troy?
They might as well have.
So, and we talked with Troy for 16, 17 minutes, and I'd say half of it probably revolved around the Jets quarterback. So Felipe had to go to work this morning at a very early hour. So I have no idea if he edited out the good stuff or not. Because, I mean, let's face it, it's like operating heavy machinery at like 5:23 a.m. Who knows what you're about to hear? But we know how it starts. It starts with Miller and Moulton welcoming Troy Aikman to the show. Troy Aikman for 22 years. He and Joe Buck have been calling the NFL. This is year 2 for them on Monday Night Football. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, David. I'm doing great.
Did you or teams you were on, did you ever overreact positively or negatively because of week 1, or because you guys are professionals, did you just treat it as one of 16, now 17?
No, I think regardless of what you say, I think week 1 carries a little more significance, at least psychologically, because when the schedule comes out in May, you have months to prepare for that opener. You know who the team is that you're going to face. You start preparing even in practice. The coaches go to work on it, and then in practice, there'll be different periods where they'll start putting up the cards for the opponent that you're going to play on week 1. And so when you go out and you fail to win the game, or especially if you just fail to play to the level that you expect, there's a feeling that it's doomsday, that you're just, you may never win a game for that matter. And then if you win, then it gets your season off to a really great start. So I've always felt that week 1 was really important. And if you do lose week 1, the amount of urgency that you have going into week 2 is much more so than those teams that won. So there's a lot to it, of course. It is a long year, as we all know. They all count the same when it's all said and done. But psychologically, I think week 1 is a big deal.
Troy, Aaron Rodgers played in the last preseason game. A lot of guys not playing in preseason. How important in your estimation is it to get a little bit underneath you in preseason?
I always thought it was important. Back when I was playing, it was pretty normal. And then the third preseason game, back when there was 4, you'd play an entire half. And that really all kind of changed about the time that Sean McVay became the head coach with the Rams. I believe he was the first one to just not play starters at all. And they came out of the gate that year and played some good football. And now most teams are doing it that way. But I've always felt the teams that at least put the starters out there for a period of time and let them get some work together, I think that bodes well. I don't believe in the theory that hey, we just want to make sure these guys are as healthy as possible week 1. Yes, you want that, but at what expense? And so I like the fact, even though it was not a lot, I think it was 8 snaps is what Rodgers ended up playing, but I like the fact that he played. It's the first time in 5 years he has played in the preseason. And then there's others, of course, that played more. Josh Allen, of course, played as well. But I like, if I were coaching, and I always say it's easy to say if I were, but I would play my starters at least some snaps. I wouldn't feel comfortable going into the season opener not having played anyone.
You had mentioned a few moments ago when you came on some of what caught your attention week 1. What was it?
Oh, I think the way Cleveland played against Cincinnati and dominated that game. I thought it'd be a good game. It's a great rivalry, but didn't anticipate that. I probably Tampa Bay upsetting Minnesota on the road. A lot of road wins yesterday, as you know. So yeah, I think, and even last night's game, I thought going into it, Dallas is a better team than they were a year ago. But obviously no one in the NFL ever expects to win a game 40-0. So, there were just a few surprises, and then, but it happens. It happens each week. But then as we move through this year, we'll get a better feel for maybe some of the teams that we didn't expect to be all that competitive. There'll be a few that surprise us. I think even Seattle not doing better than they did week 1. They're one of those teams that I always feel they're going to get stronger and stronger. It just seems to be the way that Pete Carroll does it. But them playing the way that they did was a bit of a surprise as well.
San Francisco with another great win against Pittsburgh as well. That's the one that impressed me, because a lot was expected out of Pittsburgh this year, and Brock Purdy doing it, the second year. Now that there's a little bit more tape, there's a little bit more to see on him. Brock Purdy came out and looked pretty darn good again yesterday.
Oh my gosh, he looked fantastic, and I know that obviously he was good last year. I've been a bit surprised by the skeptics on him coming into this season. I just think that, first of all, I think at the quarterback position, too often we overrate athletic ability and arm strength. I think at the end of the day, if you make good decisions and you throw the football accurately, that's far more important than many other things. And I think Brock Purdy is a good example of that. Yeah, he can move and he can run and do some of those things. That's not what he's necessarily leaning on. But within that system and the players that they have, and others have shown it, other quarterbacks that have played within that system have shown it, that if you make good decisions and put the ball where you want to put it, you're going to have a pretty good career with Kyle Shanahan and the offensive players that they have. And so I think he's going to continue to play at a high level. I think that team's really good. And I guess that's probably my takeaway just off the top of my head watching the games yesterday, that the two teams that met up last year in the divisional round with the Cowboys and 49ers right now look to be the top two teams in the NFC.
What's it like being on a team in which you go to camp and the feeling is Super Bowl or bust? Because there's probably 6 teams: Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, who legitimately feel if we don't have the trophy at the end, we have not succeeded this year. You had that feeling 4 or 5 times entering training camp. What is that like?
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling because you know that you've got a chance. The league is different because back when I played, the teams there were a few more of those teams, but you could pretty much pick with certainty that one of the Super Bowl champions was going to come from that group. There were very few surprises, as there is in today's game, where teams kind of rise from nowhere and have these spectacular years, and they go from last to winning the Super Bowl. But it is a good feeling. But yet, with that said, that even though you go into the year, and I think we can say that about these teams that are playing tonight with the Bills and the Jets, that a lot can happen. I mean, you can lose players, and then you're not the same team. And I'm not saying the expectations change, but at the end of the year, depending on what all has happened during the year, you can look back and say, all things considered, even though we didn't win the Super Bowl, that was a pretty successful season. But on the outset going in, everyone knows what the standards are and what you're trying to accomplish. And it's a long year when you are one of those teams, because it really doesn't matter. Like as great as the win was, and I think that's the challenge then for a coaching staff and also for a team and for the players, is to find enjoyment in the process and in the weekly victories, if you will. But I know from my own experience, that's hard to do, because in a lot of ways, when you beat a team, if you don't beat them dominantly, then people are questioning, is this team really as good? So they kind of take a little bit away from you in that regard. And I think you've got to find your own happiness and find your own enjoyment, because it's a long year to get to January and to the games that matter, that are going to determine whether or not your season was ultimately successful.
Thanks for making time for us, particularly on a work
Absolutely.
day. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this again. Have a terrific year 2 at Monday Night Football and year 22 with Joe.
You got him, my man.
Troy Aikman, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. And how prophetic he was, mentioning guys get hurt and everything can change. And it likely did for the Jets last night, despite them being able to rally and beat the Bills, which they did last year also. They trailed Buffalo 14-3 with Zach Wilson mid-second quarter last year and came from behind in the second half and won by 3 and beat Josh Allen up in the process. Actually injured him, and he played the rest of the year hurt.
And obviously Aaron Rodgers is the big story, but if it weren't for that, it would be talked about the 4 turnovers, the 3 interceptions, and the fumble, and just how bad Josh Allen looked last night.
If someone had said on the air last night that Zach Wilson is outplaying Josh Allen, could you have debated that? Or was Josh Allen that bad?
He was bad.
Really
I mean,
was.
Zach Wilson threw for like 130 yards, and I think that's a hell of an argument, David. I don't know which one I'd want to defend, if you know what I mean.
And his third best pass of the night, he tripped over his own feet and threw it out into the flat. That was his third best play of the night.
Miller and Moulton. Matt Baker coming up in 25 minutes' time. We'll talk some college football with him. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They're going to call Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan, who was in the booth
Mm-hmm.
a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
He's completed 67% of his passes the last 2 years, playing on bad teams.
Oh, no disrespect to Matt Ryan. It's just crazy. Booth week 1, Field week 3 or whatever, 2. I know it was probably hard to tell, but from the booth, did it look like Josh Allen was in front of the line of scrimmage when he made that pass?
I thought he crossed the line. We looked at it in super slow motion, and when the ball left his fingertips, his toes were still on the field and were touching the black of the 5-yard line. Okay, it was the correct call. I thought live he had crossed the line.
Yeah, it sure looked like it. Nonetheless, great play.
But New York took a look at that. I mean, that was done by New York. They made that call. And they could because it was ruled a scoring play. They didn't throw a flag. So if all scoring plays get reviewed, that got reviewed. By the way, I went and stretched. I've got a lower left side of my back, which is knotted up in the last few days, and it's caused me some left hip pain. And I'm actually doing a lot more stretching, because I sit a lot, then I stand for hours. So I'm trying to work out some kinks here. That's what I did when I went away. And then, yes, I'm packing. Although checkout's not till noon, my flight's not till 4. I can take a nap after this show. Oh, it'd be glorious.
They say that's good.
I'm going to. I took one yesterday.
Isn't it great?
They haven't even been that long lately. They've been like 20, 30 minuters.
Awesome. Apparently they say what do you need? It's like 18 to 22 minutes, and you reach REM so that if you at least go that long, it works for you. Plus I got it like 67 degrees in here. Oh God. It's going to be fantastic. Meet my mom for lunch right by the airport. Tell her I'll see you in 3 weeks. She's loving this Jets-Giants schedule. All I know is it's Aaron Rodgers, 40-0 Giants lose, and Aaron Rodgers gets hurt on the 4th snap of the game. I'm thinking to myself, we got 4 Jets-Giants games. The Jets have like 5, 6 primetime games. I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, schedules are just getting blown up here.
Yeah, they're the Sunday night game in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Monday night game for the Chargers. Sunday night game for the Raiders, although by November 12th, they could flex that out.
I think so. I think that's just when flexing starts, too. Like Monday Night Football can flex out after Thanksgiving. There's probably only one game we're going to flex out, though. If we flex out a game right now, we've got Chicago at Minnesota the Monday after Thanksgiving. I don't see that game happening right now.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times. He's an AP voter. He's a Heisman voter. He's covering the Gators, the Noles, and college football as a whole. It's been a little while since we talked to Matt. Looking forward to talking to him again in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Listen, we've thrown out, Mark threw out, go get Stafford. I threw out, go get Kirk Cousins. Let's just, drop back into reality. Let's just say, that they're not going to do that. They're going to pick from, what's available. So, all right. You played, I'm throwing names out there. All right. You're the GM. I'm the assistant. I'm throwing names out there for the Jets. You ready?
I think so.
Okay, and you can go yes, no, maybe so. You know how I always love to play that game.
One of your favorites.
It is. It's a segment that a show on NHL Network Radio does that I love, and I can't get you to play it with me. So I'm going to use this Aaron Rodgers injury to my advantage.
Yes, no, or maybe so.
And that's exactly how we're going to open each segment, with that recording, and we're going to run it.
How about that?
That was great, by the way. If you could do this segment like that, I would be. I don't know if I'll make it through the segment. I'll be laughing so hard, but man, would it be good. Okay. Carson Wentz?
Yes, no, or maybe so. For a guy that can't play in the league anymore, my answer, David, is no.
Wow, this is like bad game show here. I didn't realize you were going to go that far. All right. Let's see. Nick Foles.
Oh, another guy that can't play quarterback in the league. Let's go with no.
Now, remember, the quarterback that you're stuck with, we don't think can play in this league either. So I don't be too harsh now. Don't be too harsh. Do you call the Saints about Jameis Winston? He's at least third on the depth chart right now. Yes, no, maybe so.
That's interesting. I mean, you might be able to pry Jameis away.
That shouldn't take much. I mean, he's not even listed as their backup. I mean,
I might make that phone call.
7th round pick for Jameis?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a yes. It's not even a maybe so. So that one interests you. Okay.
That is a little bit of interest.
Okay. Remember the story that the Niners, if they had won the NFC Championship game, they were going to call Phillip Rivers? Phillip Rivers.
Maybe so.
I mean, he's not much older than the guy that got hurt last night.
Maybe so, David.
It's
better than what you've been telling me.
Okay. So I'm not mentioning the GOAT. Okay. He's retired. He's a part owner of another team, and he's going to make $375 million broadcasting for Fox beginning next year. Okay. I'm not doing that.
Maybe so. Oh, sorry.
Matt Ryan. Before you answer, would it surprise you that the last 2 years, Matt Ryan completed 67% of his passes both seasons, playing on bad teams behind bad offensive lines?
Here's the problem with Matt Ryan.
Okay.
The offensive line for the Jets is bad. You're putting Matt Ryan behind a bad offensive line again.
Well, I'm putting him behind 2 bad tackles. The middle 3 are actually pretty good. Okay. There's no doubt that the Jets, who played 2 and 3 tight ends a lot last night after Rodgers got hurt, there's no doubt the Jets are going to have to play more heavy packages. They're going to have to extend that line of scrimmage to compensate for their tackles. Absolutely. By the way, the system that Matt Ryan has played in, not that different than the one he would have to operate with the Jets. Matt Ryan, who I believe is now 38 years old.
Maybe so. I might make a phone call and bring him in for a workout, see what type of shape he's in to see if he can still play.
Joe Flacco, who the Jets have had a couple different times. Now, this is a new offense coordinator, new system. They had him, the last 2 years with the different OC and different system.
Yeah, I don't think Joe can play anymore.
Okay.
That's
All
a no
right.
for me.
All right. Is there anybody else? Would you call the Colts about Minshew? Is there anybody anywhere? People are going to bring up Sam Darnold. That's not going to happen. The Niners are not going to get rid of Sam Darnold. They're just not going to do it.
I'd make the call.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's a team I wouldn't be trying to get a quarterback from right now.
Do you call Atlanta about, is it Taylor Heineke?
Sounds like a reasonable idea.
Okay. So what's the idea that you like best then? Of all you're no on Carson Wentz, you're no on Nick Foles. Jameis, it sounds like the one that interests you the most is Jameis.
Has the most upside to me. And I don't know what the hell's happened in New Orleans, why he can't be a top 2 quarterback, but Allen certainly does not like him.
No, Dennis Allen, the coach, has no use for Jameis Winston. There's no doubt about that. And by now, Jameis knows it. I think Jameis deeply regrets re-signing in New Orleans. We begged him not to. He did it anyway. So, basically the Jets need to find a Brock Purdy. Think about the similarities, by the way, between the Jets and the Niners. Niners have more weapons on offense. Not much more, but Kittle, they don't have a Kittle. Okay. They got a running back. Breece Hall, McCaffrey, Edge McCaffrey, but still, they got a running back. In fact, they got 2. They also have Dalvin Cook. So they got running backs. Okay. Deebo Samuel. All right. Garrett Wilson. In the ballpark. Deebo's better, but I mean, come on now. He's in the ballpark. I mean, he's a number one receiver.
There's no doubt he's a number one receiver. You got Ayuk at San Francisco. I mean, they're more talented, but I'm with you.
But, the point here being that what did the Niners get midway through the season last year? They got competent quarterback play. That's what they got. They got competent quarterback play. It wasn't exceptional. He wasn't throwing 35 times for 350 and 3 scores. It was just, making the throws you're supposed to make in the offense, completing 70% of your passes, letting the line and the skill guys do what they do. The Jets need a competent quarterback. Can you find a competent quarterback?
The problem is that it's not Zach Wilson.
No, it is not. Don't listen to a single thing they're going to say in the next 2 weeks. Don't. And it doesn't matter if they win. It doesn't. He ain't taking them where they want to go. They're just hoping at this stage of the game he's a competent backup quarterback. What is it we talk about? Guy gets hurt. Can he go 2-1 in a 3-week span? Right now, the Jets would love to hand this off to somebody else for week 4 and be 2-1.
Oh, man.
Especially with the start to their – I mean, this schedule's, it's to start. It ain't easy. But they got a win last night. He made one horrendous throw. The defense held it to a field goal. That was the difference in the game. Bills make that 17-3. That sucker's over. Defense held it, made it 13-3.
But realistically, with Zach Wilson, where do you think they're going to go between now? They've got a bye week 7. They play the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Chiefs, at the Broncos, and home for the Eagles.
I mean, don't you have to have a new quarterback for the Chiefs? Don't you have to go to Dallas and lose with Zach Wilson? All right. And then get through the New England game at home, right?
Yes.
Patriots at home and just get through it with a win. And then turn this sucker over to somebody to take on the Chiefs. Chiefs, Broncos, Eagles. And then you get to a bye and you regroup and what have you.
Miller and Moulton. We'll switch from Sundays to Saturdays. Matt Baker from the Tampa Bay Times joins us next to talk a little college football right here. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know if we revisit this. I just got a text for the suggestion. How about Teddy Bridgewater? Up until last year, I would have said yes. He was terrible with the Dolphins last year.
He's a Lion, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I doubt they'd let him. I mean, they have no backup there.
Hooker, if he's healthy, right?
But
And
I don't.
He's not healthy.
He's not healthy.
Gotcha. Yeah. But is that even interest? Like a year ago at this time, oh my God, I would have been all over it. But man, he was terrible with the Dolphins.
Who's the Dolphins' third, or who's the Jets' third string? Who?
Skylar Thompson. They ain't going to get rid of him because Mike White's got concussion issues.
No. I'm sorry. Who's the Jets' third string? Who?
Oh, Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle,
who was not active last night. If something happened to Zach Wilson, like when he scrambled and got hit right in the face, Randall Cobb would have been quarterbacking. That struck. I don't think the Dolphins would help the Jets. That'd be a fun couple. A little bit of talent in there. Not really, no. Mark's wife is the Olympics person on the show.
Matt's on hold. We're back in 15.
All right. Way to sell it.
Yeah. Go Dolphins.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up. Our final segment along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour here on Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We love when he agrees to come on the show because, well, he makes the show sound smarter. He's Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times. Follow him on X at MBakerTVTimes, MBaker TV Times. Matt, it's David and Mark. We hope you've been well. How are you? Matt?
All right.
That was a great intro.
It really was a really nice intro. And it certainly sounded.
There you are. I hope you're.
I think the computer god didn't like it when you said something about me making the show sound smarter, and then no, can't do it. Abort.
Well, your computer has a sense of humor. That is outstanding. Like, hope you heard us say, we hope that you have been well. Hey, listen, I got to admit, you threw me for a loop after the Florida-Utah game when you started doing the Billy Napier, Willie Taggart comparison about some of the things that went on. I mean, were you just being flippant, or are you serious about this?
Well, whatever the case may be, we've got a bad connection with Matt, so I don't know how to
That's a shame.
get around that because it was a good introduction and a good question.
Thank you.
Like you brought your A game to this interview.
I
The
did.
interview didn't bring its A game to you, and that's not Matt's fault.
No. Damn, who can we blame? Verizon, Spectrum? By the way, how about that? Imagine that. Okay, Spectrum and Disney got a deal done before the Monday Night Football game. There's a shocker. Funny how that works. Well, all you need is a deadline.
Right. Didn't get it for the college football games, but they got it for the Monday Night Football game.
See, and I know in the I-4 corridor, they care about the college football, but in the Northeast, they don't. So the whole Texas-Alabama thing, that wasn't going to get a deal done. U.S. Open tennis, yeah, a little bit, a little something. No, that was an inconvenience in the New York metropolitan area to not see that. But not seeing the Jets on Monday Night Football, we had to get the deal done. Hey, listen, I don't know what you heard, Matt, but after the Gators lost in Utah, you commented about some of the things that you saw the Gators do, and you put Billy Napier in the same sentence with Willie Taggart. I got to admit, that scared the blank out of me. Were you just being flippant? Well, obviously, we're going to have to do this another day. So sorry about that, Matt. Don't know what's going on. I'd still somehow, though, if he could somehow text me the answer to that question, I would like that question answered. He did the whole the double jersey snafu for the Gators,
right?
And he said it happened in this game for Napier, and he made the same thing. It happened in the exact same game under Willie Taggart, okay, at Florida State, and he was just like, "I'm just saying," and I was like, "Whoa," because we all know how that ended. Quickly and not well. So
that's not really what Gator fan wants to hear.
Well, some actually do. Some are they're ready to move on. Some are like, let's go. This ain't he's a bum. Mark, there are some people that feel about Billy Napier the way that some of our listeners feel about Tua. And even if Napier were to beat Tennessee on Saturday, the way Tua threw for 466 and win against the Chargers, do you know what they would say about Napier? The same thing they say about Tua. He's still a bum.
This is such a big game for the Gators. I mean, they can't play moral victories. They need a win.
Correct.
Badly.
Because, Mark, since 2003, ever since Urban showed up in 2005, do you know what the Gators have done in the Swamp against Tennessee?
Well, they win, David.
Thank you, Mark. And they have not always had good teams. Even 2011, first year under Will Muschamp, you know what they did? They won. 2013, not a good team. Okay, they won. They trailed by 13 points with 5 minutes to go in 2015. And then the only college football player the last 8 years who took PEDs, Will Grier, led them back 2 touchdowns. And they won. Hell, Felipe Franks in 2017 threw a 63-yard touchdown pass on the final play of the game to do what? Beat Tennessee. Because that's what the Gators do in the Swamp.
And Vegas knows it because this line would be, I think, closer to 10 if it weren't for some of these circumstances. It's 6.5, not even a touchdown. That's Vegas with a little tell because the talent level, I think, is more than that.
This is a big game for Tennessee. The whole was last year a fluke, and can they follow up a really good year with another really good year? Well, do something that you're expected to do if you're back. What have the questions been so far this year, Mark? Is Florida State back? Answer, yes. Is Texas back? Answer now, yes. Hell, we've asked the question, is USC back? It appears as if the answer is yes. Well, if Tennessee is back, then they go into the Swamp and they win. And that may not nationally resonate. It will in the hills of Knoxville, though. They know their record. It's like the U.S. Ryder Cup on the road. They know their record.
Yeah, and if Tennessee wants to set their sights on Georgia in November, then you sure as hell better be able to beat Florida in September.
Correct. If you think you can go into Alabama and give them a game in Tuscaloosa a month from now, take care of business along the way. And that's what Florida is. Business. Or at least it should be. But it's a lot like the Jags going into Indianapolis on Sunday. Why was the line 5? Because it's a house of horrors for the Jags. It just is. They had lost 5 in a row. They had never scored more than 27 points there. And with 6 minutes to go on Sunday, Mark, who was winning the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game?
Indianapolis.
And the only reason the Jags covered was because, well, the rookie quarterback turned one over with 4 minutes to go, and they were able to tack on the covering score. But Jags fan was scared to death leading into that game and scared to death for 3 hours. That's Tennessee fan. Saturday night in the Swamp. Scared to death because they so desperately hope that they're back. Hell, some of them think they're back. This tells me if they're back. They lose to Bama, they lose to Georgia, they put a 10-2 season on the board. That's being back. That's losing to 2 top 10 teams. Both, well, one of them on the road. Lose to anybody else, what do we do?
And that is the definition. You can still lose games against good teams and be back. But beat Florida, beat South Carolina, beat Kentucky if you're Tennessee.
Right.
Those are the games you have to win. And that's where Florida's just trying to get to right now.
Mm-hmm.
Back to where they're beating Tennessee, South Carolina, and Kentucky.
Right. Yeah, we're not talking about LSU and Georgia yet. We'll worry about that for another day. We're picked 5th in the East. And by we, I'm saying the Gators. So we got to start picking off the teams that are picked ahead of us. South Carolina, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Okay. Let's go. First up, Tennessee. Where do we have them? In the Swamp. They don't like it here. They're not very good here. We've had 2 weeks since the Utah game. Hell, we've had 2 weeks and 2 days since the Utah game. Their quarterback, by the way, historically, you know, the reason he's had to transfer and sit and wait, he turns it over. Maybe we can put him in a situation where he turns it over. Big game, though. Mark, Napier wins this game. All right. He draws himself because October's doable, I think, for the Gators. I do. You know, they got Kentucky at the end of this month, and then he can kind of make his way to the cocktail party, you know, and can survive some ups and downs along the way. And he loses to Tennessee. You can't convince a Gator faithful they're a 9th, 10th, 11th ranked team in the country. They look at them and go, blank that, they're Tennessee. They're not very good. Haven't been good for 15 years.
And David, you're so right because, you know, you get Tennessee, then you look at Kentucky and South Carolina as winnable games.
Exactly.
You lose to Tennessee, you're going to Kentucky in 2 weeks going, oh boy.
Yeah, can we even beat Kentucky?
Can we be bowl eligible?
Right. Maybe that 5.5 over under was a little more accurate than I wanted it to be. Hey, we've had a few people mention this in the Twitch chat room here. So did you see what took place apparently late yesterday in the state of Florida concerning gambling?
I did. I received a couple of texts and an X about it.
So apparently the folks appealing the decision, which in federal court a few months ago favored the Seminole tribe and their gaming compact that they struck with Governor DeSantis. Apparently the folks who appealed lost. So
the West Flagler group.
Right. So there's only one appeal left, and that's to the Supreme Court. And it's going to take a while to, first off, we have no idea if the appeal will be heard, but even if it's going to be heard, that announcement won't be for months. And so really the Seminole tribe, if they want, they don't have to wait till all the appeals are done. They can fire up, you know, business and, you know, get the stuff rolling next week, 2 weeks from now, if they want. And there was a report late yesterday that that's what they're planning on doing. They're planning on getting a sports gambling operation, not only the app, but some sports books that you can go to and do it in person. They're planning on doing that by the Andy Slater from the Fox affiliate in West Palm. He reported that they're going to do that by the end of the month. We're going to have sports gambling and sports betting in this state by the end of the month.
If everything's in order, in which it seems like it was because they had the app, it could be the end of next week.
And, you know, it's our understanding, right? It's 7 days, I believe. And if the appeal, you know, came in last night, no. So they've got, you know, till early to mid next week. And they could, you know, fire up the cannon, so to speak, and be back in business. So now it's our understanding that there's only one, you know, there's no other place to go to get an injunction. There's the Supreme Court. Protocol says if the Supreme Court decides to hear your appeal, and by the way, first off, West Flagler has to file that appeal. Then the court has to decide they're actually going to take your case. Protocol says if the court says, hey, we're going to hear this appeal, then you're supposed to stop what you're doing.
You don't have to.
No. But that's proper protocol if you don't want the court to maybe hear your case and have an attitude against you. So it'll be interesting, A, if this appeal, which there's no reason that West Flagler would not appeal.
Yeah, they're too far along in the game. They're going to appeal. It's just whether or not the Supreme Court decides whether or not they want to hear this appeal.
And
which
then
is about a 10 to 15% chance.
Although the legal experts that we've had on this show say that this case checks most every damn box that the Supreme Court likes to check when they hear an appeal. We've thought from the very beginning 2 years ago that this thing was going to the Supreme Court. We thought it was going to be the state of Florida and the Seminole tribe that was appealing it all the way to the court because they were going to lose every step along the way. And they were losing every step along the way until they won. And now they're in the lead. So pay attention. Could be as early as next week. The report from Andy Slater is that it's going to be by the end of the month. We will have legalized sports betting once again through the Seminole Tribe and the app by the end of the month.
And possible live betting inside the casinos as well. I mean, the whole thing will roll out. And it's what we're paying attention to on top of all of the games. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Thanks for joining us. The syndicated portion of the show is over. The bonus hour in the 239. That's next.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd, Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Whoops. Lost David again. Unless he's not doing the 9 o'clock hour at all today.
Man, I don't know what's going on in the 9 o'clock hour. Did it yesterday at about 9:40. StreamYard just disconnected at like 8:55.
Yeah, I just went back to look at you because I sent you a text, and I'm like, he's not there.
Son of a... You game?
It's more on your travel than it is anything with me.
And I can rearrange. Here's the good thing. We don't know, and we're not going to know till early October what CBS game we're doing that Saturday. So it'll be real easy for me, whatever game we choose, to just book my travel out of Tampa.
Gotcha.
So
now the only question I have is Tampa going to have a sports book by then? Because the only one I know that has one is Miami or wherever that one is.
Right.
Of course, David, just so you know, when you weren't there at 9, I'm like, well, I said, was he taking the whole 9 o'clock hour off today?
Yes. Let's see. That's like you froze up on my end there. So and I have to admit, remember Seth said if you get rid of the video, that hasn't worked for me.
Not at all.
Really. No, like
Not
you're frozen
at all.
on my end.
Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I had some technical difficulties late in the show yesterday, and the gremlins appeared during the commercial break. So, Mark, I hope, for whatever reason, that the internet and everything that I'm, dancing precariously on here, I hope that it's got one more hour in them from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Either way, we're good. Curious, because you said you had lunch with, or you're having lunch with Mom today. Is it at a diner? I mean, I got you to Zingerman's in Ann Arbor, but what's more important on this trip? Are you going to make it to a Jersey diner?
Mark, that is a great question. It'll be one of two very fancy upscale places.
White Castle
or a diner. Correct. And I have to admit, my mom is voting for the Castle. And who am I, a mama's boy, to go against mom's wishes? Just saying.
I know that I'm speaking for everybody on the plane with you today, that I think a diner would be better for all of them.
Come on now. No, see, I'm not that guy. Oh, no. I do not break wind, period.
I'm not even saying that, David. There's a smell associated with bad fast food that permeates an entire body.
No, there is not.
You can't shake that. You walk into that place, it's stuck with you until you shower.
No, it is not. And besides, a bunch of people will be boarding the flight from where? Jersey. They're used to the smell. They like the smell. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Knock yourself out, get that bag, get that sack of burgers there before you jump on the plane.
Yeah. Buy them by the sack. And, it's very controversial. You can fit 10 easily, okay? But it's usually, the person behind the counter there, will they put the 2 in at the very top? Because you can't fold the top of the bag if you put those last 2 in. And some people only want to give you like 10. And I always stare them down like, hey, I can carry the full bag. Put the other 2 in. Yeah. Buy them by the sack, the full sack.
Well, let's hope that full sack doesn't rupture your Achilles today at lunch and you're able to make it onto the plane hobble free.
Well, see, there's no artificial turf at a White Castle. I should be okay. Should be okay. Now, I have a feeling a few of the customers, there's a little natural grass involved. Hoo-ah! But, so there you have it. We're going with 12 cheeseburgers is what we're going with for lunch. Just so you know. Got to make sure I take my medication before it, got to make sure that all the levels are still copacetic. Hope my doctor's not listening. Don't worry. I'll be, cholesterol, everything will be fine.
I like that at 9 o'clock, you're having a dozen burgers for lunch.
Darn right.
And there's no guilt that's associated with that. I mean, that's a good feeling.
No. In fact, I'm sad that it's going to be 3 weeks till I have a chance to do it again. Guilt? First off, I'm Catholic. I've been dealing with guilt for a long time. And I have wrestled with that guilt. And I have decided that I am very mediocre. And so, you know what? Might as well let the guilt go. You know what? I'm an underachiever. I've disappointed.
Not when it comes to eating, my man. Not when it comes to eating. You are not an underachiever, and don't think that way.
Exactly. And that's why I accent the positives. I'm a good eater. I'm very good at it. We're not going to use the G word, but I am very good at it. And so I'm accentuating the positives in my life. I'm a good husband, I'm a good father, and I'm a very good eater. So that's what I'm concentrating on.
I like it.
Sportscaster, somewhat successful. There you go. I just wrote my obit. We came here to honor David Moulton. He was a pretty good man. He was a good husband, a good father, a very good eater.
Never met a carbohydrate he didn't like.
Right. Spent however many years it'll turn out to be. As a sportscaster, something he wanted to do since he was 8 years old. He was somewhat successful. In lieu of flowers. Yep. ...
Send a sack of White Castle.
Yes. Donate a sack of castles. You know what? That's actually, we got homeless. We got people who are hungry. That could be what I do when I die. In lieu of flowers, let's donate some food.
Donate a sack to the homeless.
Yeah, to a food bank.
There you go.
All of a sudden, thousands of castles show up. People, what's this? Some old fat guy in Florida died.
More than Harry and Meghan did.
Wow. Look at you. Wow. You went there. So is this like Al Gore when he ran for president and they looked at his taxes that year and he gave $800 to charity? Now, listen, I got to be honest. Whether you voted for him or not, whether, you agreed with his policies or not, when you decide you're going to run for president, isn't that the year you donate to charity? Did you have to fake it?
That's probably where you want at least a comma.
Right.
Before the donation line. You don't want it to be in the hundreds. So
Correct.
I'm with you there, David.
I mean, that's when you go, listen, what's the automatic deduction? We have to at least go $1 more than whatever the automatic thing is. We have to make it seem as if we're charitable. We're running for president. Yeah, it's appearance. I'm not a charitable guy. I'm not, but no, we're faking it. We're running for president. We're lying about a lot of things. Okay, so we can lie about, come on, Tipper. Don't we have $3,000? Come on.
She'll just blame it on rock music after all, anyhow.
Well, exactly.
Not that
probably,
I hold grudge in the PMRC
GoFundMe
or anything 50 years later.
Wow. I was going to say, that's a hell of a grudge. That's a good 35+ year grudge there.
It is. Thank you.
That's solid. I mean, that's mid to late 80s right there.
It very much is.
That's a solid grudge. That's the Reagan administration grudge. Look at you.
Well, you got to go LBJ during the show today, so I figured I might as well chime in some way, shape, or form.
Highlight of the show for me, mentioning how long it's been since the Jets have won the Super Bowl. Not that, but the fact that it was the final days of the Lyndon Baines Johnson administration, which is why the Jets need to, not accept their fate, so to speak. They need to change the narrative here. They need to go get a quarterback.
All right, a trade's off the table. You gave me all the quarterbacks that are there, all the old has-been quarterbacks that are out there. Who are you signing?
By the way, one name we didn't mention was Teddy Bridgewater. Don't know if the Lions would give him up. I'm not interested in Teddy based on what I saw last year. He was awful with the Dolphins. Awful. By the end of the year, I wanted to see Skylar Thompson instead of Teddy Bridgewater. That's how bad he was. Okay. Believe it or not, I'd bring Matt Ryan in and kick the tires. I'd work him out. I don't know if I'd sign him. I'm assuming Atlanta's not going to give up Heineke. I'm assuming Indianapolis is not going to give up Minshew. I'm tempted. I am, but probably not. Mark, I want to bring in a quarterback in which I think I can get to the AFC Championship game with. I'm not trying to bring in a guy who's an upgrade on Zach Wilson who can sneak me into the playoffs at 10-7, but I can't do anything when I get there. I want to go get a quarterback, if you know what I mean.
Well, then you're doing what we talked about in the first hour of the show. That means that you're calling the Rams and saying, Matthew Stafford, is he available? And I know it puts you in cap hell in 2 years, but I don't know what to tell you. Kirk Cousins is the one you came up with, David. If Minnesota was willing to give him up, that's someone who doesn't have a contract next year. That one actually you could work out into your it's a $15 million difference between what his salary is and what you are what you have left on the cap. But you could get that done. That's the one that I guess
Mark,
makes
I really would.
sense.
That Mark, that is where I would go. I would call Minnesota up and say, I'll give you a first rounder for Kirk Cousins. And they'll say no because they're like, ooh, the Jets are desperate. We can get more. And I'd be willing to give them a first rounder in 24 and a third rounder in 25 for a guy that they're getting rid of at the end of this year. Make no mistake about it.
A guy that you're getting rid of at the end of this year, too.
Correct. He's a free agent.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I really would. I'm all in. Okay. I'm all in. I'm all in. The other thing that I want to do, quite frankly, is I want to protect myself. What if Aaron Rodgers can't come back? I mean, what if 6 months into his rehab, Rodgers is like, yeah, this ain't working for me? I then have a chance on the open market to sign Kirk Cousins. He's already been here. In theory, we've had some success, which I know the Matthew Stafford deal would be more protection. He's under contract in 24 and 25. Problem is his cap hit both years is $50 million.
It probably isn't realistic. As much as that was my initial thought, just because I know that they're a bad team that has no problem getting worse right now.
Everybody's mentioning, Jacoby Brissett. Do you really think you're going to win playoff games with Jacoby Brissett?
I
I
don't.
could see you. Maybe you win one. I don't know. He's had a lot of opportunities to prove he's a starting quarterback in the league. He's not. He's a number 2. And don't mention the Drew Locks of the world. Come on now. No. I need a starting quarterback. Like, I'm curious about a couple guys. Chicago pushed 2 veterans aside because they drafted Justin Fields. Okay. Can those veterans play? Can Nick Foles still play? I mean, Nick Foles has had an enigmatic career, but in 2013, he threw 27 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And in 2017, he won a Super Bowl. And in and around that, he's been a mess. Can I catch lightning in a bottle with Nick Foles?
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, first off, fam, the league is entirely different now. I mean, that's what we've talked about. Can you win a championship the way that teams won a championship before? I mean, even the 2000 Ravens, the 2002 Bucks. Can you win a title that way before? We think 2015 Denver might be the last team to win a championship that way. Look at Adam calling him Billy Taggart. Wow.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. So we're having a debate, at least in the Twitch chat room. We don't think the Jets can win without Aaron Rodgers. And people are bringing up, can't you win with great defense? And we don't think that you can win a Super Bowl the way the 2000 Ravens, the 2002 Bucks, the 2015 Broncos did. And we said, you can win a Super Bowl game with a great defensive effort. The Giants in the 07 game against the Patriots in the game against the Rams, 13-3. But that Patriots team was very balanced. It was excellent defensively, but it had Brady, it had Gronk, it had Edelman. I mean, it was James White out of the backfield. I mean, that was a balanced team. That was not a dominated by defensive team. I mean, they won the AFC Championship game with their offense in Kansas City. They won the Super Bowl game with their defense against the Rams. This would be a team that is one-dimensional.
There's no doubt. And David, I think what we talked about earlier, and I think is the question you have to ask is, how many wins did you think the Jets were under Aaron Rodgers? And how many less wins is that now with Zach Wilson as their quarterback? Because it's not just get into the playoffs and maybe an injury happen and you can revamp things for a game or two. This is an entire season. And I don't believe they're a playoff team now, let alone a Super Bowl team. They went from a playoff team, in my estimation, to not being a playoff team.
Now, Miller and Moulton are not just being sports talk show hosts when we say we would not just let the year go to waste. A year is a very long time in the NFL. Your prime players, you can't just throw away a prime year of their career. I can't let Quinnen Williams be as great as he's going to be this year on a 9-8 team. I can't do it. Can't do it. There's too much good play here. I gotta give him a chance to play in deep January. But Mark, there's something that took place at 6 o'clock last night, 6:01 p.m. Eastern to be exact. It was a tweet or a Twix, whatever it is we're calling it. A guy by the name of David Zaslav. Have you seen this?
I did.
He lives in Manhattan Beach, California. That's a nice life right there. If you're living in Manhattan Beach, California.
Not a bad spot.
No. The people that are doing very well usually live in Manhattan Beach, California. Anyway, he sent out the Twix that said 40-year-old quarterback. No, I'm sorry. That's the follow-up. He said at 6:01 p.m., Aaron Rodgers is going to tear his Achilles on a rain-drenched MetLife turf in 2.5 hours.
Yep.
2 hours and 16 minutes later, I believe. It didn't get to 2.5 hours. It was a few minutes shy. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. And he said 40-year-old quarterback on a rain-drenched turf against the best team in football. What could go wrong? Now, we'll see if they were playing the best team in football. They were until Josh Allen got a hold of them, I'll tell you that. But anyway. Man. I mean, that's freaky.
Yeah, there are prognostications, and then there's that.
Right. I mean, it was a little eerie when we played back part of our Troy Aikman interview from yesterday, and he said, things can change quickly. Guys can get hurt and all. Huh.
They sure can.
Wow. Just 11 hours later, I'll be damned. Right. So, that's all. I mean, doesn't he have to, pick our lottery numbers or something? I mean, come on. Shouldn't he be able to win a Powerball? Just even get 5 out of 6 numbers?
I was going to say, maybe just to pick 3 for him.
Yeah, something. Damn.
But if the Jets stick with Wilson, where do they go? Do they even make the playoffs? And Dolphin, looking at this realistically, what position are you in right now?
A good one. A good one.
A really good one.
I mean, you need breaks, and this is a bad break for the Jets, awful break for the Jets, but it's a good break for the Dolphins. I mean, it just is. I mean, we think last night you could not, as a Dolphin fan, have literally scripted it up any better. Well, I'll take a Jets win, but Rodgers gets hurt, he misses the rest of the year, and the Bills have to live with the loss. Huh. It's not believable. We reject your premise. How are they going to beat the Bills if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt on the 4th snap of the game?
Right, because it's, and Tua's still got to play the whole year, but it was never the talk that Rodgers was going to get hurt. The guy we were doing the over-under in games for was Tua.
For those that are blaming the Jets offensive line, I will say this. Both play calls were supposed to be quick throws in which the Bills covered the first option. Because if you look, he got hit 2 plays earlier. That was supposed to be a quick toss, Becked in the right tackle, chopped the defensive end at the knees because it's going to be a quick throw. He doesn't have to get in position and block him. He's just going to chop him. That's all I need. Quick throw, we move on. Bills covered it. Rodgers didn't throw it. Now, all of a sudden, D lineman gets up. There's no one between him and Rodgers. So he hits him. 2 plays later, they try the same thing the other way. Dwayne Brown did the same thing. Brown tried to go low on him, thinking, I don't even know if I have to tie this guy up. He's getting rid of the ball in a second. Only he didn't get rid of the ball in a second. And now all of a sudden, there's no one in between the defensive end and Rodgers. And he gets sacked.
And now the season is forever changed for the New York Jets. And as I've mentioned, we've gone through a couple of different trade scenarios. We have a couple of ideas of what we think we would do. I don't know if the Jets will. The Jets may just bring in, the odds are the Jets are just going to bring in an older quarterback to back up Wilson, and that's how they're going to run this out. We wouldn't.
Okay. Let's just say I can't convince you, even though I know I can, even though you've already said, hell, you don't have to convince me. I got my own ideas. But let's just say that you're the GM and we can't convince you to do something dramatic. The old veteran is the route you're going to go. Of the 35 plus crowd, or the journeyman crowd now that's left, which one are you picking? Wentz, Ryan, Flacco, Foles,
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. I mean,
I
somebody
might
who
call Phillip
literally
Rivers first.
Really? Wow. Isn't he like 42? Wow. Look at that.
He was coming back for the Niners, right?
Yep. One game. This is the season.
I'm making the phone call. He can tell me no.
He's 41. He turns 42 in December. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. We'll wrap up this Tuesday show.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, do you follow Dalton Miller on Twitter?
What was that?
Do you follow Dalton Miller on Twitter that we have on the show?
No.
He is infatuated with himself and his workouts, and he really likes to talk about his workouts on X. Absolutely, Logic Man. It's a tradition unlike any other. Rainouts in soccer.
And you're not talking the Premier League on Paramount?
No. San Carlos Scorpions on Three Oaks Parkway.
I was going back and forth with Kelly Burns. And she's like, yeah, you do know I have an 11-year-old, right? I can't retire yet.
All I know, Logic Man, is that is the cleanest the concession stand's ever been. I would actually eat food out of there this year.
Whoa! You know, I got a guy we haven't talked about.
Who's that?
No, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Can do it on the air.
All right, that works. Where's Andy Dalton?
God, where did he go? Carolina, isn't he? Backing up Bryce Young?
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Home stretch. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks for being with us. Hey, you know, there's a couple guys we haven't mentioned. You actually just threw one of them out flippantly during the break. If you're the Jets, do you call Carolina about Andy Dalton? He started in the league last year for New Orleans. If Tom Brady hadn't engineered a dramatic fourth quarter comeback, the Saints would have won that division last year, albeit at 8-9. They finished 7-10 instead. Zach Wilson, Andy Dalton.
Give me Andy Dalton.
Exactly. So I'm just wondering, do you call Carolina about Andy Dalton? But here's another one, and I think this is more intriguing. Mitchell Trubisky. Steelers have 3 quarterbacks. They still have held on to Mason Rudolph. In theory, they could let Trubisky go, who I believe is in the final year of a contract. And they could just move Mason Rudolph, who started like 10 games in the league. They can move him up to number 2.
Pretty lateral to me, David.
You think Zach Wilson, Mitchell Trubisky's lateral?
Yes.
Wow.
Mitchell Trubisky sucks.
I don't know about that.
I'm taking the red rifle over both of them.
Now, that's fair. That's fair. But I got to admit, I think Mitchell Trubisky has been horribly coached, both in Chicago, and I don't know that the Steelers offensive coordinator's going to win any votes either. But I have to admit, his performance in Pittsburgh last year disappointed me and surprised me that it was as poor as it was. It did. Because I thought he wasn't bad in Chicago. They were horribly coached. His line was bad. He had very few people to actually get the ball to besides 17 tight ends. So I blame the organization far more than I blame Trubisky. And by the way, remember when they had that elite defense, what did Trubisky and the Bears do? They won 12 games. And if they had still had Robbie Gould as a kicker, they would have won the playoff game against the Eagles, and then who knows what would have happened. So if I mentioned Mitchell Trubisky in the room, you'd basically look at me and go, you can leave now.
It would be a Scooby-Doo look.
Yeah.
Just one of those.
Okay. All right. Is Andy Dalton an upgrade over
I think so.
all the other veterans that we mentioned?
I think he's an upgrade over what we've been talking about.
Okay. Interesting. Besides, obviously, the big deals that you and I would make. So besides the Matt Ryans and the, Jameis, Cam Newton, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Colt McCoy, all the Nick Foles, all those guys, you'd go Andy Dalton.
I'd go Andy Dalton.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Starting 1953 today, the Brooklyn Dodgers clinched the NL pennant earlier than any other team. They would finish the season with 105 wins. It was today in 1958 that the U.S. Supreme Court orders the all-white Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas to integrate. Today in 1959, we got one of the great TV theme shows, David. Bonanza premieres on NBC TV.
Oh, wow.
1964, A Fistful of Dollars, starring Clint Eastwood in his first leading role, premieres. The Monkees premiered on NBC TV today in 1966. Maude, a spinoff of All in the Family, premiered on CBS today in 1972. Pink Floyd releases Wish You Were Here today in 75. Connors beats Borg for his second U.S. Open title today in 76. This mainly for David and I. Taxi premiered today on ABC TV in 1978. Such a great show, such a great cast.
So underrated.
Yaz gets hit 3,000 today in 1979. The Smurfs debuted today in 81. That same day, Tracy Austin won her second U.S. Open, beating Martina. Connors wins his fourth in 82. Monica Seles goes back-to-back today in 92. Sampras wins his second today in 93. Lindsay Davenport wins in 98. Agassi wins his second and final U.S. Open title today in 99. Johnny Cash died today in 2003. Federer wins his first U.S. Open today in 04. Djokovic wins his first U.S. Open today in 2011. Naomi Osaka wins her second U.S. title in 2020. And Medvedev, easy for me to say, beats Djokovic in straight sets 2 years ago today. Henry Hudson, Jesse Owens, Barry White, Neil Peart, Animal from the Road Warriors, and Paul Walker, all born today. MTV VJ Nina Blackwood, 68. Chip Beck is 67. Boxer Wilfred Benitez is 65. 2 Chainz is 46, and Jennifer Hudson is 42 years old today.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
So, a Van Gogh was stolen from a Dutch museum back in March 2020. 3.5 years later, Dutch art detective Arthur Brand was handed the painting in a pillow by a man who just came to his front door. Apparently, the painting, worth several million euros, had already changed hands. The person who had it was not the thief, and he gave it back. So that's a good by us. For the bad, we go to Gainesville, where someone went on a heist, stealing a large excavator, taking it on a joyride, taking down a few power poles, a storage building, and finally crashing it into a Walmart. No injuries were reported, and the suspect got away. Finally, the ugly. We go to Fort Myers, where Tim DeMars was arrested after 2 construction workers were leaving for the night, attaching the trailer to their truck. That's when Tim walked outside with his gun and pointed at them because he was afraid they were going to ruin his grass. That's right. They were going to ruin his grass, so he threatened to shoot them.
That right there is get off my lawn guy.
You know, that's a dadgum good point, Felipe. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 12th, 2023.
I know this is going to sound very young of me, but what is the origin of Get Off My Lawn? Is that Clint Eastwood?
Yes, from Gran Torino.
Okay, I'm glad that I knew. It was a guess, but I thought it was Clint Eastwood.
Glad you picked up on that, Felipe.
Get off my lawn.
Afternoon baseball today. Yankees and Red Sox get at it at 1:30. Toronto hosting Texas. That's a big game for both. Yankees and Red Sox finish their double dip at 7. Twins hosting Tampa tonight. Marlins on the road taking on the Brewers. Marlins suffered that big loss last night. They've got to get back to their winning ways if they're going to make a run at this wild card.
12-0. I mean, for all we know, they could win their next 4 straight games, but just this has been a very emotional roller coaster for Marlins fans.
All 6 of you.
I said 5. Damn.
Also, I included you with the 5, Felipe. That's the only reason I got it to 6.
There you go.
But you're right. I mean, the Marlins and the Giants both tied, a game and a half behind the Diamondbacks. The Reds are 2 back of the Diamondbacks. So 4 teams really fighting for that 1 spot. The Cubs are 2 games ahead of Arizona. So technically they still are in the race for the wild card, but they have a tiny bit of separation from Arizona. And they're still only 3 back of the Brewers, but 4 back in the loss column. So that's looking like it's going to be more and more difficult for Chicago to catch Milwaukee in the division, but now just trying to hold off Arizona. It is so difficult to try to figure out the National League because no one really taking the opportunity to pull away. It looked as if the Cubs were going to pull away. They couldn't do it. Philly even, they're only 3.5 up. They were, I think, 5 up just a few days ago after losing the 2 or 3 to the Marlins. So it has been trying to figure out if any of the teams in the National League, and none of them have proved throughout the year that they have the ability to put together a long winning streak.
All right, there's no consistency to it. And a trend that we're seeing is all of them losing at the same time, unless they're playing each other, of course. But we are reaching that time of the year.
And Toronto, Texas, and Seattle, a game between the three of them, two teams getting in. One will not make the postseason as they fight it out there. These are the two nights you get to catch up on baseball, everybody. Tuesday and Wednesday. Do it for David Samson. Catch up on your baseball. You've got a couple of nights to get back to the playoff races before we get to Thursday night football. Vikings and Eagles.
Ooh. Amazon Prime, remember, people. Not on NBC. You need that subscription.
I will tell you, it is the one thing about cutting the cord. Now, I've got the subscription for that, and that's a different whole avenue to go down but I feel as if there are no channels anymore. I feel as if I quickly made that bridge where I don't need a TV guide anymore. I just go find the game that's on and watch it.
That is correct. I've said this. The era of TV channel numbers is gone. It's over.
I got a text from a friend of mine during the games on Sunday, and he's like, he has DirecTV, and he's like, wait a minute, I can't get the package. I wanted to say, where the hell have you been in the last year? But I think, people DirecTV, they're so used to at least getting week one for free forever. Even if you didn't subscribe to Sunday Ticket, they gave you week one.
Really?
It was always the free preview.
Oh, wow.
DirecTV is great about that. They give you the free preview for game one of the NFL. They give you the first week of the NBA. They give you the first week of the NHL. They give you the first week of MLB. So I think if you've had these services for a while, you get kind of used to, hey, it's the beginning of the year. I get this for free again. And he's texting me going, where the hell, what happened to my NFL? I'm like, don't know where you've been, but it's time to cut the cord.
Well, for as long as I can remember, Sunday Ticket has been on DirecTV.
That's all it was. The only place you could ever get it until this year. And no real problems. I mean,
that was one thing that we talked about that we were nervous about because YouTube TV has had their issues in the past. But yeah, smooth sailing for the most part.
A lot better than Amazon Prime had it for week one last year. If you recall, Amazon Prime had a rough go.
Yes, they did.
With their first debut into the NFL. And by all accounts, not hearing any problems from people with YouTube TV over the weekend. Didn't see anything on Twitter. Didn't see and no complaints from anybody that I know that have it. So they get off to a good start. The Dolphins get off to a great start. And boy, oh boy, now with Aaron Rodgers out, how much different is the AFC East? Buffalo losing. Mentioned it yesterday going into the game. If Buffalo lost, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati, the big three, have all lost their openers. And typically, 50% of teams that win make the postseason, 25% of teams that lose do. Does that mean one of the big three could actually be out of the playoffs this year? Long way to go with that, but obviously something we'll pay attention to. If you missed any part of the show today, you can download it in all the usual places or go to floridasportsnetwork.com. David Samson was on the show today. We replayed some of our interview with Troy Aikman as well. Tomorrow on the show, we'll talk with the folks from Pro Football Network as we start moving past week one, and I don't know how you do that. It'll be a little more Aaron Rodgers talk with the folks from Pro Football Network as we slowly move past week one and start getting ready for week two. Seth Everett on the show tomorrow as well, along with Bud Elliott to break down everything that is college football and what's been another crazy start. If you think about the big three in the AFC down, you think of all of the SEC teams that have already lost, with Bama losing, with LSU losing, with A&M losing, and even to a lesser extent, South Carolina getting beat by North Carolina in week one. So there is a lot there to try to figure out how the college football and pro football seasons have already gotten off to an unbelievable start. Thanks so much for listening. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. 6 a.m., Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island and